置いて。でも家に入れちゃう人いそうだよね。さあ、決断の時だよ。
あ、ちょっと待ってくれ。今日の沢良ぎの下着の色。
Tomodachi Game is a thrilling psychological anime series that will keep you on the edge of your seat. The story follows a group of high school students who are invited to participate in a mysterious game. The game seems innocent at first, but as the students start playing, they soon realize that it's much more dangerous than they could have ever imagined. With each round, the stakes get higher, and the players must navigate their friendships, trust issues, and dark secrets to survive. Will they be able to outsmart each other and win the game, or will they fall victim to its deadly consequences? Starting off episode 1, we meet our main characters and their current predicament. The school trip may be a bit expensive, but it's an exciting opportunity for Yuichi to spend time with his friends. In order to make it happen, he's been working tirelessly at his part-time job to save up the required 70k yen. Even though Makoto suggests that Yuichi's father could have given him the money, Shiho is quick to put him in his place, insisting that it's condescending to suggest that. Fortunately, Tenji is there to calm everyone down, and they all end up congratulating Yuichi for his hard work. However, their excitement is short-lived when they learn that the 2 million yen for the trip has been stolen. Standing in front of the class, Shiho is visibly upset, as she explains that she had put the money in her locker, but it had been taken. The next day, Makoto and Shiho are nowhere to be found, and rumors start to spread that they might be responsible for the theft. That night, Yuichi receives a mysterious letter from Shiho, requesting that he meet her at the school gate at 11 p.m. He rushes there eagerly, only to find that all of his friends are there waiting for him. Shiho scolds him for being late, but before he can even respond, she shows him the letter that he had apparently sent her. For a moment, she thought it was a confession letter, but upon closer inspection, it became clear that they had been set up. Just as Yuichi starts to piece things together, he suddenly feels a sharp shock and collapses to the ground, realizing too late that he had been tasered. Unconscious, Yuichi dreams of his father telling him that money is the most important thing in the world, but his mother telling him that friends are more important. Suddenly, Yuichi jolts awake in a white room with his friends, disoriented and confused. They are greeted by a person dressed in a mascot costume, who Yatori recognizes as Manabu-kun from an old late-night anime. Yuichi is wary, but Manabu quickly cuts to the chase and explains that they will be playing a simple game with him. Despite their initial shock and confusion, the group listens as Manabu explains the rules of the game. Each game they will clear will earn them a whopping 2 million yen, which they can use to repay their 20 million yen debt. Yuichi can hardly believe his ears, but Manabu assures them that one of them is the owner of that staggering debt. Tenji is quick to point out that what Manabu is doing is kidnapping, but Manabu is unfazed and explains that they already paid the 2 million yen entry fee, which means that one of them must have stolen the school trip money to pay the fee. As the group processes this information, Manabu lays out their options. They can choose to play the game and split the debt of 4 million each yen, or they can opt out and be released, but without a refund of their entry fee. Yuichi feels a knot forming in his stomach as he wonders what will happen if they lose. Manabu is quick to reassure them, however, stating that the debt won't increase, but each individual will be stuck with the remaining amount on their own debt. Before we move on, take a moment to answer the question of the day. What anime character do you relate to the most, and why? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out. Now, back to the recap. With the pressure on, Manabu gives them only 5 minutes to decide. The group looks at each other unsure of what to do. As they weigh their options, Yuichi can't help but think of his father's words about the importance of money and his mother's emphasis on friendship. Shiho firmly states that they shouldn't waste time trying to figure out who's in debt. She reminds everyone that their friends are in trouble and need their help. With everyone agreeing, Yuichi remains uncertain. However, Manabu confronts him, questioning if he wants to know who he shouldn't trust and if money is more important to him than their friendship. Yuichi recalls his parents' teachings and affirms that his friends are more important than money. Finally, everyone agrees to play Manabu's game, and he leads them to the classroom. Once there, he gives everyone a tag with their names and explains that it also shows the amount of money they owe, which is a whopping -4 million. The goal of the game is to reduce this debt to 0. However, they must keep their debt a secret and cannot show it to anyone, or else it will double. The first game is Kokuri-san, as they have to answer questions by placing their fingers on a 10-yen coin and moving it to the answer they think is right. The first question is about Hokkaido, Japan's northernmost prefecture. Manabu then asks Kokuri-san to reveal the answer, and the coin moves to yes, causing Kokuri-san to raise its hands. To everyone's surprise, Manabu explains that if one person's answer is different, Kokuri-san will favor the minority. Moreover, they are not allowed to talk to each other during the game. If they fail, the one with the highest debt will take a penalty and inherit everyone's debt. As the game continues, Manabu advises them never to doubt their friends, or they will never have a happy ending. The game starts off with a bang as Makoto grins and reads the first question. The group eagerly awaits their chance to answer whether or not Mount Fuji is the tallest mountain in Japan, but the coin has other plans, landing on no, and causing them to give an incorrect answer. Shio is on the brink of losing her cool, but Tenji and Yuichi are quick to stop her from breaking the rules of the game. As Shiho takes her turn, the group is hopeful that the question will be an easy one. They all believe that 1 + 1 = 2, but yet again, the coin moves to no, causing them to answer incorrectly. Yuichi begins to suspect that someone in their group is a traitor and wonders who it could be. Recalling Makoto's recent bruise, Yuichi realizes that he may have tried to kiss Shio and got hit in the process. He takes it upon himself to talk to Shio and ask for her forgiveness, but she demands that he reveal a secret to her in return. As the game continues, the questions become increasingly difficult and the group's debt continues to rise. But when Yuichi opens his envelope to find that there is no question, he realizes that he must come up with one himself. However, he soon discovers a small print stating that if the coin lands on yes, he will clear the game, but if it lands on no, the reader's debt will be halved. Yuichi begins to suspect that his friends purposefully gave incorrect answers to halve their debt. After the intense moment of contemplation, we shift our focus to two mysterious women named Maria and Tsukino, who are observing the game. The tension is palpable as Maria notices the doubt etched on Yuichi's face. With bated breath, Tsukino chimes in, stating that humans endure difficulties only when they see others enduring the same. As Yuichi ponders his next move, he considers choosing yes, which would reduce his debt but end the game. However, Tsukino reminds him that no team has cleared the Kokuri-san game after reaching the 5th question, leaving Yuichi with a difficult choice. In a moment of reflection, Yuichi recalls a conversation with Yutori, who confided in him about the relentless bullying she faces from her old tormentors. Yuichi feels the weight of his responsibility towards his friend, who considers him as her only true friend. He then reads the question, contemplating if there are 7 days in a week, and feels the pressure to choose the right answer, for the sake of his dear friend. However, the coin moves to no, prompting Yuichi to suspect foul play. As the game progresses, Yuichi realizes that if the 5th question is the same, it will all balance out. However, his suspicion grows stronger, as he suspects the 5th question is different. Maria and Tsukino notice his realization and begin to get excited, sensing that Group C will be eliminated in the first round. In a surprising turn of events, Yutori reads the 5th question, asking if they will be friends forever. The tension mounts as everyone hesitates to answer, uncertain of who to trust. Just when we think the suspense can't get any more intense, Yuichi shocks everyone by asking an unexpected question about Shiho's underwear. The group is left in stunned silence as they process his audacious move. What is Yuichi thinking by asking this question? How will this affect the game results?
それって、俺が貧乏人だからか。じゃあ他に理由があるのかよ。なんだよ。
雄一のことを好きだからよ。同情とかじゃなくて、雄一のことが好きだから。
もう分かったから。
The group hesitates, knowing that their debt will double if they speak up. It seems like someone is attempting to shift their debts to Yutori, and Shuichi realizes this after he speaks up, causing his debt to double and making him the most indebted one. However, Yuichi has a trick up his sleeve. He reveals that his card states a change in rules, and the one with the least debt will face the penalty. Maria is stunned, but Tsukino explains that it's a bluff, yet there's a chance someone might believe it. Tsukino then asks Maria to imagine being the traitor and being hunted down by the others, but not being able to confess that she has the least debt. At this point, Yuichi tries to lighten the mood, stating that he was just kidding and there's no traitor among them. He wants to go back to the game and answer the fifth question with a yes. However, his serious demeanor gives Yukino pause, and she senses that it's the final threat, prompting everyone to agree with a yes answer. They succeed in clearing the game, but Yuichi pays a hefty price. Nonetheless, he successfully plants the seed of doubt that one of them may still be a traitor. Yuichi ponders on how to find the traitor. First of all, he asks all of his companions what their current debt is. Tenji replies that it should be the same as everyone else's, which is 3.6 million. They all seem to be quite worried about Yuichi's debt, but he reassures them that it's the same as theirs, as he managed to cut it in half before doubling it again. This may have caused their answers to not match up, but Yuichi believes that it's just because they're all nervous. He urges them to trust each other in the second game. Just as they're about to move on to the next game, Manabu calls them, but Yuichi stays behind for a moment, claiming that he needs to tie his shoelace. What could he be up to? As it turns out, Yuichi doesn't believe that everyone has the same debt. He decides to check their question cards, but he notices that some of the text is starting to disappear. What could this mean? Maria and Yukino explain that they use special ink that disappears after a certain amount of time, and that it covers the condition of each question card. Sneaky, but clever. Meanwhile, Shiho joins Yuichi and shares her own suspicions about a traitor among them. She asks him to confide in her and reveal who he's considering. Yuichi finally admits that he suspects her, due to what she said before the game about not needing to look for whose debt it was. It seems that Shio has some personal feelings about the thief who stole the school trip money. She would never forgive them. Yuichi gets angry, thinking that Shiho pitied him for being poor, but she reveals that it's actually because she likes him. How sweet. Shiho then drops another bombshell. Her debt isn't actually 3.6 million like everyone else's. It's actually 7.6 million. She believes that in the moment she almost yelled. She made a small noise that doubled her debt. How unfortunate. Yuichi realizes that he was trying to protect Yutori during the fifth question, but he ended up actually protecting Shio. He's impressed by her bravery and her honesty. Shio then declares that she won't betray Yuichi and that she'll believe in him no matter what. What a loyal friend. However, Yukino warns Yuichi that being sharp with money won't be enough to win the game. There are others who are willing to destroy their friendship. As if on cue, they discovered that Tenji was eavesdropping on their conversation. As the group eagerly anticipates the second game, they make their way up to the school's rooftop. Manabu, known as Manabu-sensei, greets them and reveals that they are all keeping secrets from each other. The excitement builds as he announces that they will be revealing these secrets today. But that's not all. Manabu drops a bombshell and tells the group that they are being watched by gods. The second game is called Badmouth Sugo Roku, and it's a game where you win by taking your friends to hell. The objective is to write secrets on cards, which can be empty or contain lies. If found to be lying, they start from the beginning, and the number of spaces they move will be determined by the god's survey. As the game begins, Makoto struggles to understand the rules, but Manabu is patient and takes them to a room where they have 3 minutes to write bad things about each other. Manabu then collects the cards and reads a bad mouth for everyone, giving some examples to illustrate the point. The tension in the room is palpable as the gods vote for the most unforgivable offense. Makoto's secret is revealed to be having a wig, and he is forced to move 5 spaces, while the last one moves only 1 space. But there's a catch. The first to reach the goal will suffer a massive loss, and when at least one person reaches the goal, they clear the game and each will receive 400k yen. However, anyone remaining in the game will receive an additional 1 million debt. The stakes are high, but the group is determined to win. They have the option to turn blank cards, which means there won't be a god survey and they can all move one space. They can do this for each round and finish the game together, but then all will be forced to play the third game. At the start of the first period, all the cards are blank. With a sense of excitement in the air, the players move their pieces one space at a time, eager to see what the game has in store for them. However, their enthusiasm is short-lived as they land on a square that reveals a harsh truth. Those who step on it will lose a whopping 100k yen. Yuichi does some quick math and realizes that if they hit all 60 spaces like this, they'll rack up a staggering 6 million yen debt. The second round offers no respite either, as the cards are still blank, except for one that takes away 500k from each player. That's when Manabu drops a bombshell. All the debt they accumulate during the game will go to the first person to reach the goal. Suddenly, every move counts, and the stakes are higher than ever before. In the third round, things take a more personal turn as one of the cards reveals a secret about Shiho's past. The gods vote to give her an advantage, and she moves ahead 5 spaces, while the others only move 1. However, her luck doesn't last long as she lands on a square that costs her another 500k. Meanwhile, Makoto is struggling to come to terms with the news about Shiho's feelings for Yuichi. He wonders if he's been the butt of a joke, but Tenji reassures him that it's not the case. As they continue to talk, the truth about Shio and Tenji's relationship comes to light, and things start to get heated. Thankfully, Yuichi manages to defuse the situation and calm everyone down. As the game continues, Yutori approaches Shio, stating that all the boys fall for her and that eventually Yuichi too will fall for her. As the game progresses into the fourth round, 3 non-blank cards lay before the players. Manabu, ever observant, reads the first card with intrigue. It reveals that Makoto used to bathe with his mother until junior high. Yuichi's card, on the other hand, causes a stir amongst the group. Apparently, he once went an entire week without bathing. Finally, the third card is read aloud, causing gasps and whispers to erupt from the players. It turns out that Shio had undergone plastic surgery.
おいおい、なんて目を。これは、俺だ。
もう見てないから言わないで。
ずっと見ていたから。二人の会話も。
ほら、やっぱり傷がある。
ああ、ちょっとね。
In the fifth period, there is only one submission and it turns out to be a doozy. Manabu, with a hint of excitement in his voice, reveals that Yutori engaged in compensated dating during her junior high years. Upon hearing this shocking news, Yutori's emotions erupt as she starts to scream and cry, begging Shio to explain why she wrote it down when she was the only one who knew. It's a moment of utter chaos, and the tension in the room is palpable. Makoto, who is still trying to process the information, realizes that Yutori must have sold her body to adult men. He's surprised that someone who isn't a virgin looks so innocent. However, before he can say anything else, Tenji lashes out at him, punching him in the face and telling him to shut up. It's clear that emotions are running high, and everyone is on edge. In an effort to defuse the situation, Tenji turns to Yuichi, asking him to look after Yutori and keep her company. Meanwhile, the god votes are counted and Yutori comes out on top, securing the coveted first-place position. The rest of the players are left in her wake, moving only 1 space each. Manabu takes the opportunity to remind everyone of the current standings, with Shiho leading the pack with an impressive 13 spaces, and Tenji lagging behind with a measly 5 spaces. He then drops a bombshell, revealing that whoever reaches the goal first will be able to end the game, but they'll also be burdened with everyone else's debt, which currently stands at a staggering 5.5 million yen. Yutori confides in Yuichi, revealing that she was in desperate need of money and that her current situation of being bullied pales in comparison to what she endured in junior high. She recalls how she was left to suffer alone, with no one coming to her aid. In order to stop the bullying, she resorted to giving money to her tormentors, which ultimately resulted in them being nicer to her. With no other options left, Yutori found herself going on a paid date with an adult man. Their initial outings consisted of simple activities such as going out to dinner and exploring various places. However, Things took a turn when the man expressed a desire for her to dress up in different outfits and take pictures. Yutari agreed, but things quickly became uncomfortable when the man wanted to touch her. Overwhelmed with fear, Yutari fled the scene, insisting that her story was true and that she remains a virgin. What a shocking revelation! The gods refuse to believe her account, but Yutari stands firm in her truth, pleading with Yuichi not to abandon her. As the group debates the importance of a girl's virginity, Tsukino shares her thoughts, half-jokingly explaining that those who consider themselves pure often view those who can't live up to their standards as being filthy and trash-like. However, Yuichi's response is simple and unwavering. He will stand by Yutari no matter what. He whispers something to her, leaving the rest of the group convinced that he just confessed his love for her. Tsukino, who is surprised to see Yutari unfazed by the confession, concludes that Yuichi must be aware of his own impurity and that something significant must have happened in his past. Ready to move forward, Yutari expresses her desire to stay close to Yuichi and stay away from Shio. Tenji is pondering whether Shio was aware of Yutari's secret, and Shio affirms that she did know, but not everything. Soon after starting high school, Shio witnessed Yutari being confronted by students from another school. Without hesitation, she sprang into action and protected Yutari from harm. However, one of the boys made a startling revelation, informing Shio that Yutari was involved in compensated dating. This information deeply concerned Shio, but she made a promise to Yutari to keep her secret safe, vowing never to tell a soul. Tenji trusts Shio's words completely, knowing her to be a faithful and trustworthy friend. As the situation between the group of friends continues to escalate, Tsukino begins to suspect that someone is trying to destroy their relationship. This is most likely the reason why the Tomodachi game was initiated in the first place. Maria suggests that Makoto may be the most suspicious, as he has no need for money and may be envious of Shio's bond with Yuichi. Meanwhile, Tenji's prior knowledge of Shio's crush on Yuichi and her plastic surgery also raises suspicion. After much consideration, they conclude that Shio herself may be the most suspicious. She knows all of their secrets and could even speak ill of herself to throw them off her trail. While Yuichi cannot be ruled out entirely, Yutari seems the least likely culprit in this game of deceit and betrayal. A distorted voice echoes through the hall, menacingly declaring that it wants the friends to suffer even more. The voice brazenly admits to stealing the money, claiming that it's all part of its twisted plan. Earlier in the day, during an independent study period, Shio gathers the money and prepares to deliver it to the teacher. But, as fate would have it, a classmate tells her that another teacher is looking for her in the media room. Despite the fact that this is in the opposite direction of where she needs to go, Shio decides to heed the call and heads to the media room. Meanwhile, Makoto is in a bind, desperately trying to finish his homework before class. He asks another student if he can copy their work, but they suggest that he can ask Yuichi instead. Unfortunately, Makoto is informed that Yuichi has been working overtime and is probably sleeping right now. Undeterred, Makoto takes matters into his own hands and starts copying the homework at his desk. Little do they know, a sinister presence is lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike. The mysterious figure approaches Shio's locker, intent on stealing the money. In a cruel twist of fate, the thief collides with Yutari, causing her belongings to scatter on the floor. As she hastily collects her things, Yutari realizes that the perpetrator must have seen her artwork. She nervously explains that she wants to be a professional manga artist someday, hoping to divert attention from the stolen money. The thief, however, is not fooled. With a cold and calculated demeanor, the voice insists that no harm will come to them. Yutari notices a small cut under the thief's eye, likely caused by her pen. Despite her concern, the thief brushes it off, claiming that it's nothing to worry about. As Tenji observes Makoto's reaction to his nasty face, he begins to wonder if Makoto's interest in Shio has dwindled because of her plastic surgery. Despite this thought, Tenji knows the truth about Shio's surgery, which was not for cosmetic purposes, but rather to cover a scar she got in junior high. As he continues to reveal his secret knowledge, Tenji discloses that he has been keeping a watchful eye on Shio and even knows where she keeps her locker's spare key. In fact, he has gifted her an anti-theft alarm keychain that doubles as a listening device, allowing him to eavesdrop on every personal conversation. He even knows about Yutori's compensated dating secret, which he discovered through his spying. What else is Tenji hiding? Is he the true mastermind behind the games?
今回の陰口は1枚だったよ。過去に人を殺している。
どういうことだ。俺はそんなこと書いてないぞ。あれだけ煽った直後だ。誰が何のために。ユイチ、お前まさか。また。
While Tenji may appear unassuming with his glasses and barely noticeable cut under his eye, he has sinister intentions. He plans to break all of Shiho's relationships with her friends and loved ones, leaving her alone and vulnerable. And when that time comes, he intends to manipulate her with sweet words to see how she will react. Tenji believes Shio, primarily because he is the one who wrote all the rumors except for the two concerning Makoto and Yuichi taking baths. He believes that Makoto and Yuichi must have bad-mouthed each other to help Shio come out on top. However, Tenji's belief in Shio's innocence raises questions about who had bad-mouthed Yutori. Despite her curiosity, Tenji advises Shio not to look for villains as it may hinder their chances of restoring their friendship. To further complicate matters, Tenji believes that he destroyed Yutori's feelings for Shio and now feels obligated to destroy Shio's feelings for Yutori. He ponders whether Yutori wrote the bad mouth herself, given that she appears to have feelings for Yuichi, whom she is currently very close to. As Shio learns that Yuichi is the object of Shio's affection, she realizes that she didn't stand a chance if she was against Shio. Perhaps Yutori bad-mouthed herself to elicit sympathy from Yuichi, and blamed Shio to make her look bad. Furthermore, Tenji considers the possibility that the rumors were all fabricated to cover up some deeper issues. He wonders whether Yutori and Shio's friendship was ever genuine or whether it was all a facade. Perhaps the bad mouth was a way for Yutori to test Shio's loyalty to her, or a way for Shio to prove herself to Yutori. Manabu requests that the group continue with their game of bad-mouthing each other. Yuichi takes the initiative and asks Tenji to go first. Inside the room, Tenji ponders on what to write to break Shio and Yutori's relationship. However, he soon realizes that he has the lowest points which could lead to suspicion. So, he decides to write something about himself instead. As he exits the room, he catches Yuichi slapping Shio for suggesting that Yutori wrote the mean comment herself. Shio defends her, saying that women are willing to play dirty to get what they want. Yutori agrees, adding that it's similar to people who get plastic surgery to enhance their appearance. This agitates Shio, who reveals that her plastic surgery was to cover a scar. She doesn't care if Yutori believes her or not, but warns her to stop attacking her or she will lose her trust. Yutori remains firm, saying she doesn't care as long as Yuichi believes her. Tenji feels excited as he observes the friendship between Shio and Yutori deteriorating, and even the relationship between Shio and Yuichi is getting strained. He takes the opportunity to approach Shio and assure her that he trusts her no matter what. The rest of the group joins in, and everyone shares their bad-mouthed comments. Manabu begins by gathering the bad mouths and announces that there are two this time, sparking Tenji's curiosity about the other one. He reads the first bad mouth about Shio wearing men's boxers, usually gray or black. Immediately, Shio points the finger at Yutori, making Tenji think that it's her revenge. However, Manabu moves on to the second bad mouth, which states that Tenji is lying about his age. Yuichi is surprised and asks him about it, to which Tenji admits that he dropped out of high school for 1 year due to some problems. He then reveals that only he and Shio knew about it, but Shio denies it, causing Tenji to believe her. Despite Shio receiving the most votes, Tenji vows to always believe in her and asks her to stay by his side. As they move to the next space, Shio lands on a spot where she can nominate anyone, and the Tomodachi game conducts their own investigation to reveal a bad mouth for one of them. The gods will vote on whether it's forgivable or not, and the person will move from 0 to 10 spaces depending on the unforgivable votes. Tenji begins to worry that Shio may choose him, as everyone might discover that he stole the money and applied for the Tomodachi game. Manabu suggests that Shio might pick Yutori or Makoto, who is in last place, but it may not be a good idea to vote for Tenji since he's now her ally. Suddenly, Makoto steps forward, requesting that Shio choose him. He admits to saying some mean things but wants to remain friends with everyone. Tenji realizes that Makoto is trying to win Shio back after learning that she didn't have plastic surgery. However, when Manabu reveals pictures of Makoto's father, who has been involved in various crimes, including sexual harassment and bribery, everyone begins to worry. Although Maria thinks that it's not Makoto's fault, Tsukino gives an example of how parents would warn their children not to associate with the criminal's child. Shiho assures Makoto that she has nothing against him, but Tenji jumps in and warns her to stay away from him. He then questions Makoto's innocence and suggests that his father may have used his money to cover for him. Tenji successfully convinces the others to stay away from Makoto, and the gods vote 99% unforgivable, causing him to move 10 spaces. Tenji believes Makoto is isolated, and he wonders if he should finish him off in the next round. To add some context, he thinks that Makoto's isolation may make him an easy target. Manabu interrupts with an announcement that there is only one bad mouth, and it's about Makoto. Hearing this, he finds it quite cringe, which shows that he is not happy about it. Manabu then reads that Makoto had killed a person. Tenji is surprised by this revelation since he didn't write anything about it. He actually refrained from writing anything in this round to not stir things up and become suspicious. Suddenly, Tenji notices Yuichi's wicked smile, and he guesses that it was him who wrote the bad mouth. Tsukino chimes in, stating that Yuichi must have already been setting something up. What else is Yuichi hiding? What other secrets will be revealed in the future?
自分が友達ゲームに参加を申し込みました。
なんで俺しか陰口入れてないんだよ。
テンジ、だから言ったじゃないか。泣くなよ、テンジ。だからな、スパッと聞かれたことだけ答えろよ、テンジ。
これが雄一なのか。
Starting off episode 5, we learn that Tenji firmly believes that he has the right to rob Shio of everything, as she has already robbed him of the most important thing in his life. Tenji is so driven by his anger that he is ready to crush even Yuichi if he dares to get in his way. However, Manabu, being the voice of reason, steps in and questions Makoto about his alleged crime. Makoto denies it, but Tenji remains skeptical and thinks that Yuichi is behind this false accusation. He suspects that Yuichi has some sort of devious plan up his sleeve. Manabu, still not convinced, challenges Makoto to prove his innocence. However, Makoto is at a loss as to how he can do so. In a desperate attempt to clear his name, Makoto turns to the gods for help, hoping that they can see the truth in his words. Sadly, the gods vote against him by a staggering 99%, which causes Makoto to fall behind in the game by 5 spaces. As the tension mounts, Yuichi approaches Makoto and shows his unwavering support for him. He believes that there is a traitor among them who is trying to ruin their friendship. Yuichi asserts that he knows who the traitor is, but he won't reveal their identity just yet. He is determined to use a strategic approach to win the game and expose the traitor once and for all. Yuichi makes a powerful observation about the game, noting that it is not fair at all. Despite their initial trust in each other, their debt has continued to increase. While the reward remains the same, it's as if the game is rigged against them. Yuichi recalls a moment in the game where Yutari's debt inexplicably decreased, and he suspects that there is more to the game than meets the eye. Yuichi argues that in a fair game like the normal Sugoroku, there are both positive and negative spaces, which help to balance the game and make it more enjoyable. He believes that if they can make it to the end, the positive and negative spaces will even out. Yuichi is determined to win the game and expose the traitor, but he knows that they must work together to do so. Maria confirms the group's suspicion that the bad-mouth Sugoroku has been rigged to discourage cooperation. She notes that the game designers placed the majority of the negative elements in the first half. Unfortunately, she adds, it seems the team has only just realized this fact. The group collectively nods in agreement. Yuichi voices his frustration with the game's design. He laments that it's impossible to know who wrote which negative comment. To solve this problem, the team decides that everyone will now only write bad mouths for themselves, except for the person in the lead. This way, if someone doesn't have a bad mouth, it's a clear sign that they're the traitor. While most of the team approves of this plan, Tenji is less enthusiastic. He He suggests that they skip the guess it game altogether and just have Yuichi identify the traitor. The rest of the group disagrees, arguing that the traitor would be unfairly punished if they had to play the third game alone. As the discussion continues, tensions begin to rise. Tenji warns Yuichi that if this plan fails, he will never trust him again if he can't provide evidence of the traitor's identity. As the 8th period starts, Yuichi is confident that there will only be 4 bad mouths. Suddenly, Manabu pipes up and declares that there are in fact 10. Yuichi is taken aback by this unexpected twist, and Manabu chastises him for his lack of preparation. If they could only write 1 card, Yuichi's plan would have worked perfectly, but since they have the ability to write more, someone had gone rogue and exceeded the limits. Tenji speaks up, noting that he saw this coming all along. He demands that Yuichi reveal the traitor's identity, but Yuichi can only offer an apology, admitting that he had merely been bluffing and didn't actually know if there was a traitor in their midst. Tenji then turns his attention to Shio, coaxing her into staying by his side. He feels as though he has won the game and relishes the thought of getting his revenge on her. The atmosphere grows tense as the game continues, with the friends pointedly avoiding eye contact and conversation. At the 19th period, Shio is only 1 space away from winning the game, and the tension is palpable. Maria and Tsukino are resigned to the fact that the game will end like all the other bad-mouth Sugoroku games they've played. However, Tsukino senses that something is off and decides to rewind the video. As she watches it again, she notices something strange and realizes that Yuichi is up to something. This only adds to the excitement of the game, as everyone is wondering what Yuichi's next move will be. Yuichi reveals that he has a plan that will force the traitor to expose themselves. Although Tenji is hesitant to listen, Yuichi knows that they can't stop Shio from winning, and they need to do something to catch the traitor. Makoto is curious as to why Yuichi wants to reveal the traitor now, but Yuichi explains that there is a penalty for lying, and he wants to use that to their advantage. With the last bad mouth votes, Yuichi writes the name of everyone on 5 cards and asks them to write the same thing, which will only be true for the traitor. The tension builds as everyone wonders if they will be able to come up with the same lie. Yuichi believes that the traitor is the same person who applied to play Tomodachi game and is determined to catch them. As the game progresses, everyone is on the edge of their seats, waiting to see if their plan will work. Tenji is nervous about going first, but he knows that he has to do it. Inside the box, he wonders what he should say, but ultimately decides to tell the truth and admit that he was forced to apply for the game. Manabu collects the cards with precision and asserts that out of all the cards, there is only one with a negative remark. Inquisitive as always, Manabu decides to unravel the mystery of the bad mouth by reading it out loud. The card belonged to none other than Tenji, and he had written that he applied for the game. Tenji is perplexed, questioning why he is the only one who took the risk to admit it. Yuichi, with his sharp mind, tells Tenji that he figured out a way to expose the traitor, and Tenji decides to play the victim card by breaking into tears. But Yuichi is not buying it, and he grabs Tenji with an intimidating look and questions him relentlessly. In a surprising twist, Tenji confesses to being the traitor, and Maria can't contain her excitement. Tsukino jumps in, stating that she could see 3 abnormalities if she rewatches the game from the start. Yuichi, with a confident smile, divulges that he had meticulously plotted a plan to catch the traitor even before the second game commenced. When the 3rd period arrived, and the despicable bad-mouthing of Shio by Tenji surfaced, Yuichi and Shio clandestinely collaborated without the knowledge of others. The 2 of them carried out the mission in a discreet manner, with Yuichi directing Shio with the cards. Tsukino, astounded by Yuichi's ingenious plan, verifies that this was his first trap. She urges Maria to rewatch the footage from the 4th period, where it's evident that Yuichi held 2 cards and a pen, but apparently handed Shio an empty card. Tenji, surprised by the revelation, realizes that while tapping Shio on the shoulder, he had handed her a card with instructions. Yuichi, on the other hand, calmly elucidates his logic behind trusting Shio, revealing that he had indeed tested her loyalty. His first instructions to Shio was to use the secret that he had divulged to her, that he had gone without taking a bath for an entire week. Yuichi cunningly deduced that the person behind the other malicious rumors was none other than the traitor and not Shio.
天智。
俺は志保ちゃんに恋愛感情なんて持ったことはない。はあ？俺が今回、お前初めてか。
はあ、何が？
Yuichi, a clever strategist, was determined to expose the traitor within their midst. To test Yutari's loyalty, he devised a plan during the 5th period of their game. In a flashback, it is shown that he handed her a card, instructing her to maintain her guise of fighting Shio and to submit a secret about her during the next period. Yuichi knew that this was a risky move, but he was confident in his plan. Soon, we learned that Yutari submitted a juicy secret. Shio wears men's boxers. However, Yuichi noticed that there was another box exposed, which confirmed that there was a traitor among them. Thankfully, Yutari was cleared of any suspicion. The bad mouth this time was about Tenji, who apparently lied about his age. It was clear that only he or Makoto could have written it. Tenji was perplexed as to how Shio kept getting information about him, but then it dawned on him. It was when he had slapped her. Tsukino chimed in, explaining that this was Yuichi's second trap. Although it might not have seemed significant, Yuichi had carefully orchestrated the order of people going into voting, ensuring that the traitor would not be able to volunteer without being caught. With this special chance in hand, Yuichi was confident that the traitor would not risk revealing themselves. Thus, when Makoto volunteered, he was cleared of suspicion. That left only Tenji as the traitor. Tenji soon realizes that Yuichi had a more cunning plan in mind when he suggested that they write bad mouths about themselves. Yuichi confesses that he knew the plan had flaws, but he was shocked when Tenji didn't back out after he mentioned that their debt wouldn't increase. It was then that Yuichi realized that Tenji's motives were more than just financial. Despite their differences, the game must go on. The group still needed to finish the game, and exposing Tenji could have led to disastrous consequences. As a way to diffuse the tension, Yuichi instructs Tenji to go first, and then asks everyone else to put blank cards. Tenji thinks it's pointless since anyone could write more than one bad mouth, but Tsukino chimes in, revealing that it's just another one of Yuichi's traps. As the game progresses, Yuichi throws another curveball, and asks them to provide proof of their friendship. Tenji and the others realize that they are missing their nameplates, which confirms that they aren't the traitors. They easily give their nameplates, and Maria is impressed that Yuichi figured out that giving a nameplate wouldn't double the debt. Tsukino suspects that he tested it out himself, as he was missing his name tag before the 4th period. Yuichi's shrewd tactics may seem cutthroat, but in reality, he just wants to ensure that everyone trusts each other. By forcing them to give up their nameplates, he is signaling that he won't isolate anyone from the group. In the end, the group agrees to Yuichi's terms, and the game continues. Tenji wonders why he was left until last. Was it a mistake that he'd made that made him the most suspicious? He searches for an answer as Yuichi explains that he knows them all well and that Tenji's behavior during the game was unusual. Yuichi knows that Tenji is smart and calm, always stepping in to break an argument. However, at the start of the game, Tenji picked a fight with Makoto, blaming him for bad-mouthing the group. But Makoto couldn't have revealed any secrets, as they had never told him anything. The others confirm that they don't tell Makoto secrets, as he has a big mouth and is somewhat of an idiot. Yuichi even suspects that Makoto wrote a bad mouth about himself, confessing to taking baths with his mother to protect Shio. When Yutari's secret was revealed, Makoto was trying to cheer her up, but because he's an idiot, it came out sounding different. Yuichi didn't believe that Makoto could keep up the charade, and only revealed everything to him in the last period while Tenji was in the room. As Tenji thinks about everything Yuichi has said, he realizes how suspicious it all seems. He had tried to blame Makoto, who clearly couldn't have done all that. Manabu interrupts the tense silence by stating that the game isn't over yet, and even though they found the traitor, Shio is still about to lose. However, before he can continue, Yuichi approaches Manabu and whispers something into his ear, leaving Tsukino and Maria shocked and curious. They quickly confirm the truth of what Yuichi has said to Manabu, who then declares the game is over, and that Yuichi has reached the goal alone. Before we continue, take a moment to answer the question of the day. Who is the best anime swordsman? Comment down below for a chance to be shouted out. Manabu reveals that Yuichi wrote a false bad mouth in the 7th period and had just confirmed it. As such, he gets a penalty and goes one space ahead of Shio, effectively clearing the game. Yuichi then explains that they are probably wondering why Tenji did what he did, but they should speak with him while Yuichi plays the 3rd game alone, and decide if they should forgive him or not. Surprisingly, Yuichi confesses that he had done horrible things in the past, which he kept a secret, fearing that if they learned about them, they couldn't stay friends. He even wrote a bad mouth that Makoto killed someone, which turned out to be a lie because it was actually Yuichi who had killed someone. Tsukino is stunned to discover that Yuichi had sent 3 people to their deaths, and Manabu remarks that the 3rd game is rough and almost impossible to clear alone. However, Yuichi seems determined to prove him wrong and even asks who will regret it more if he fails. Despite his friend's shock and disapproval, Yuichi feels relieved that he no longer has to hide his true self and can finally destroy Manabu and the management during the 3rd game. However, as the tension rises, Makoto starts to turn against Yuichi, but Tenji comes to his defense, saying that sometimes people have to do things they can't talk about. As the group argues, Yuichi decides that if he has to deal with this noise, it's better to not have friends at all. Manabu tries to encourage his friends to say some supportive words to Yuichi before he embarks on his hellish journey, but no one speaks up. This makes Manabu comment that no one wants to be friends with a murderer. Just as Yuichi prepares to jump alone, Tenji stops him and makes a shocking confession that he also said a lie, the bad mouth of him dating Shio. Tenji admits that he wanted to destroy the friendship so he could keep Yuichi to himself as he likes him. Maria thinks he's making it up, but Tenji is prepared to prove it. He leans in and kisses Yuichi before they both jump down together. Tsukino believes that Tenji must still have an objective, as this is his 2nd Tomodachi game. What a shocking revelation. How will our duo escape from the pit? Find out on our next recap of Tomodachi game. As the scene changes, we find ourselves transported to a flashback of the hospital, where a young Yuichi is seen counting his hard-earned cash. Just then, Yuka, a kind-hearted girl, last time on Tomodachi game, Tenji kissed Yuichi and they were both forced to fall into the prisoner's life that are more valuable, like money. In the present day, Yuichi and Tenji awaken transported to a flashback of the hospital, their eyes struggling to adjust to the darkness. Manabu's voice echoes through the cavern as he delivers the grim news. They must stay in this cave for 3 days. She tells him that money isn't everything, and that there are other things in life that are more valuable. They only have one bottle of water to sustain them for the duration of their stay, only to be corrected by Yuka, who explains that she needs to make an urgent call to her mother. As Yuka makes her way to the phone booth, Yuichi steps outside and explains his betrayal to their friends. The man asks Yuichi if he knows the most important thing in life, to which Yuichi promptly replies, money. In the present day, Yuichi and Tenji awaken in a damp and dimly something incredibly their eyes struggling to adjust to the darkness, and Manabu's voice echoes through the cavern as he delivers the grim news. They must stay in this cave for 3 days to prepare for the 3rd game. Yuichi's heart sinks down below for each chance to they only have one bottle of water to sustain them for the duration of their stay. Had 2 close friends, and Tenji reassures them that they'll make it through together. He had saved up the reason why he kissed Yuichi, and with his friends' money, entered the game. They pulled together to come with them and explain his betrayal to their friends. Well until Shio entered their school is his 2nd time playing friends. From that day on, and shares their funds were constantly in turmoil. When questioned about his betrayal was caused by Shio, Tenji explains that their parents wanted them to him together. He takes a deep breath parents and begins to recount the story of his past. His two friends suggest that they
Before we
split the money
continue,
and invest
take a moment
separately,
to answer
with
the
the one who
question
made
of
the
the
most
day.
money becoming
Which
the
anime has
CEO
the
of their
best
company
fight scenes?
and earning the
Comment
right
down
to
below for
propose
a
to
chance
Shio.
to be
But
shouted out.
before they could
Now,
execute their
back to the
plan,
recap.
they were kidnapped
In junior
and
high,
thrust into the
Tenji had two
Tomodachi
close
game,
friends, and he
where they
dreamed to
learned
start
one
a
of them
business
had
with
a
them.
10
He had saved up
yen
1
debt.
million yen,
Tenji
and
was
with
the
his friend's
sole
money,
loser in the
they
game,
pulled together
taking the
3
20
million yen.
Everything was
debt,
going well
but
until
was
Shio
told that they
entered
would
their
take
school
the 20
and met
million
his
yen
friends.
worth of his life.
From that
Since
day
he
on,
was a minor.
their funds were
Released
constantly
2
in
days
turmoil.
later,
When
Tenji was
questioned about
warned
his
not to speak
relationship
about the
with
game.
Shio, confronting his friends about the parents wanted them
he
to
learned
be
that
together,
all the money was
but they
spent
were
on
just friends.
Shio.
When
One
Tenji's father
fateful
went to
day,
speak to
his two
Shio,
friends
he was
suggested
later
they
split
found
the money
dead,
and invest
a
separately.
supposed
But the one who
suicide.
made the most money
Tenji
became
became the
suspicious
CEO
and
of
received
their
an
company
anonymous
and earned
threat
the
to
right to
disappear
propose
if
to
he
Shio.
continued his
But before they could
investigation.
execute their
In a
plan,
last-ditch
they were
effort,
kidnapped
he
he decided
into
to
the
gamble
Tomodachi
it
game,
all,
where
and
they
played the
learned one
Tomodachi
of them
game
had
again
a
to
10
corner
million
Shio
yen
and
debt.
expose her true
Tenji
nature.
was the sole
As the
loser in
story
the game,
comes to a close,
taking the
Yuichi
20
realizes he may have
million
ruined
debt,
Tenji's plan,
but was told
but
that they
Tenji
would take
assures him
the
that it's
20
not the
million yen
case.
worth of his
Shio
life
has
since
lied
he
about
was a
something
minor.
significant, and it's up
Released
to them
2
to
days
uncover
later,
the
Tenji
truth.
was warned not
Tenji
to speak
begins
about
by
the
explaining
game,
that their
confronting
total
his
debt
friend
currently
about the
stands at
betrayal,
a staggering
that all
10.8
the money
million
was spent
yen.
on Shio.
Yuichi
When
is taken
Tenji's
aback
father
by
went to
this
speak to
revelation,
Shio,
and
he
can't
was
help
later
but
found
wonder
dead.
how Tenji came to know about their collective
suicide.
debt.
Tenji
then goes on to explain
an
that
anonymous
once you complete
threat
the
to
second
disappear
game,
if he
the
continued
management
his
reveals the total
investigation.
debt of each
In a
group.
last-ditch effort,
Removing his hand
he
from his
decided
name
to
tag,
gamble it
Tenji
all
requests
and
Manabu
Manabu
to
to
reveal
reveal
their
their
again
debt
to
once
corner
again,
Shio
and to
and
everyone's
expose her
surprise,
true nature.
the figure is
As the
exactly
story comes to a
10.8
close,
million
Yuichi
yen.
realizes he may have
Yuichi,
ruined
being
Tenji's
the analytical
plan,
mind
but
he
Tenji
is,
assures him
quickly
that it's not
calculates
the
that their
case.
debt should have
Shio
been
has lied about
18.8
something
million
significant,
yen,
and it's up
this
to them
means
to
that
uncover
someone
the
among
truth.
them has lied
Tenji
about their
begins by
debt.
explaining that their
Tenji
total
then
debt
confesses
currently
that
stands
he
at a
lied about his
staggering
debt during
10.8
the
million
first
yen.
game.
His card
Yuichi
allowed
is
him to
taken
cut his
aback
debt
by
in
this
half,
revelation,
and he was only
and
at
can't help but
minus
wonder
1.6
how
million
Tenji
yen
came
at
to
the
know
time.
about their
But
collective
now,
debt.
his real debt
Tenji
is
then
a
goes on
whopping
to explain
2.1
that once you
million
complete the
yen.
second
They speculate
game,
that
the
Makoto
management
also
reveals
reveals
the
the
total
same
debt
offer
of each
and is
group.
likely at
Removing his hand from his
200K
name
debt
tag
right
Tenji
now.
requests
Despite
Manabu
these
to reveal their
revelations,
total
they are
debt
still
once
left
again.
with a
And to
daunting
everyone's surprise,
14.8
the figure
million
is
yen
exactly
debt. Shio had
10.8
6.2 million yen debt,
Yuichi,
but assuming
being
she
the
didn't get
analytical
the
mind
penalty
he
for
is,
speaking,
quickly
her
calculates
debt
that their
would have
debt should have been
2.2 million yen,
18.8 million
bringing
yen.
the total to
This means that
10.8
someone
million yen,
among them has
which is
lied about their
correct.
debt.
As the
Tenji
gravity
then
of the
confesses
situation
that he
sinks
lied
in,
about his
Yuichi
debt during
cannot
the
help but
first
feel
game.
a sense
His
of
card
distrust
allowed him to cut
towards
his debt in
everyone.
half.
However,
Tenji
Tenji
shed
shed
some
some
light
light
on
on
why
why
he
he
decided
decided
to
to
follow
follow
Yuichi.
But now,
His main
his
goal
real
is
debt
to avenge his father,
and he believes that the Tomodachi
They
game
speculate that
and
Makoto
Shio
also
also
received
received
the
the
same
same
offer,
offer,
and
and
his
his loyalty
loyalty
at
Tenji shows
200K
Yuichi
debt
the back of
right
his
now.
nameplate.
Despite
Which
these
reveals his
revelations
debt
of
they are still
2.1
left with a
million
daunting
yen, which then increased to
4.8 million
4.2
debt.
million yen.
Shio has
As
a penalty
6.2
for
million
revealing
yen
it.
debt,
Tenji
Tenji
is
she
willing
didn't
to
get the
follow
penalty
Yuichi
for speaking,
and be used
her
as a
debt
tool
would have been
towards his goal.
2.2 million
With
yen.
only 3 days left, Yuichi tells Tenji that he will think about it before making any decisions.
As the gravity
After
of the
approximately
situation
6
sinks in,
long
Yuichi
hours,
cannot help but feel
Yuichi
a
finally
sense of
decides to
distrust
confront
towards
Tenji
everyone
about the meaning
However,
of friendship.
Tenji shed some
However,
light on why he
Tenji's
decided to
response is far
follow
from what
Yuichi.
Yuichi expected.
His main goal
Tenji
is to avenge
confesses
his
that he
father,
hasn't given
and
much
he
thought to
believes
the
that the
concept of
Tomodachi
friendship
game
since
and
his friends
Shio
betrayed
are
him.
related to that.
Yuichi can't help
To
but
prove
feel
his
his sense of
loyalty,
unease creeping
Tenji
up on
shows
him.
Yuichi
Are
the back
Makoto
of
and
his
Mitari
nameplate,
really just
which reveals
strangers
his
to
debt
him?
of
Despite Tenji's
2.1 million
confirmation,
yen, which
Yuichi
then
refuses
increases
to
to
believe it.
4.2
After
million
all,
yen
he
as a
had
penalty
picked these
for
two for the
revealing it.
Tomodachi game,
Tenji is
didn't
willing
he?
to follow Yuichi
Without hesitation,
and be used
Yuichi
as a
demands an apology from Tenji. With wants him to make amends to Makoto, and tells Tenji that even if it doesn't mean before making any decisions, it's the least he can do. After approximately 60 long hours, Yuichi then makes a bold finally decides to confront Tenji about the meaning of this promise. He'll promise to clear the responses far from what Yuichi expected. Once the 3-day countdown ends, that he hasn't given much thought to the concept of friendship, but their journey is far from over. Yuichi can't help themselves wandering in a dense forest, lost and unsure of what to do next. Suddenly, a man in Tenji's confirmation for them. Sergeant Manabu. The two friends feel relieved to have picked these two for the Tomodachi game. But Manabu has a surprise for them. Without hesitation, meanwhile, Yuichi demands an apology from Tenji. He wants him to make amends to Makoto and Shintari, that even if it doesn't mean they'll forgive him, it's the least he can do, especially since they trust him. Upon
Yuichi
noticing
then
that there are
makes a
only
bold
2 players
declaration.
left from Group
If
C,
Tenji
Reiko
follows through with
smirks,
his promise,
confident that
he'll
her team will
promise to
win
clear
easily.
the 3rd game as
However,
well.
Yukino
Once the
remains
3-day
unconvinced
countdown
and
ends,
suggests a
Yuichi
bet,
and Tenji
which
are
Reiko
freed from
accepts.
captivity, but
Manabu
their
then
journey
announces
is
that the
far
3rd
from
game
over.
is a friendly
They find
game
themselves
of hide and
wandering in a
seek,
dense
but with a
forest.
competitive
Lost and
twist.
unsure of what
Group
to do
C
next.
will be facing off
Suddenly,
against Group
a
K,
man in
and the stakes
uniform
are
appears
high.
before them.
The team
Sergeant
that loses
will be
Manabu.
eliminated
The 2
from the
friends
game.
feel relieved to
Group
have
K
finally
members
found
are
some
quick
help,
to dismiss
but
the idea
Manabu
of
has
2
a surprise
putting
for
up
them.
a good fight.
Meanwhile,
But
at the
Tenji believes
management
that the
office,
game is
Reiko
all about
Tamai
testing the
pays
strength
Tsukino
of
a
friendship
visit.
within the
She
group.
informs her that the
Manabu
3rd game is
reveals
about
the
to
rules
begin,
of the game,
and that they
and
will be
Yuichi
facing off
notices the
against
option to
Reiko's
switch
own
teams.
Manabu
Upon
explains
noticing
that
the
there are only
consequences
2
of
players
switching,
left from Group
if you
C.
win,
Reiko
you won't go to the
smirks,
4th game,
confident
but
that
if
her
you
team will
lose,
win
you will
easily.
pass your debt to the
However,
losing
Yukino
team.
remains
With
unconvinced
just 2
and
people
suggests
left on
a
the team,
bet, which
if one
Reiko
of them switches
accepts.
sides,
Manabu
the
then
game is
announces
over.
that the 3rd
Yuichi
game
is
is
curious
friendly
about
game
what
of
happens
hide
if
and
you switch,
seek,
but
but
with
with
a
a
competitive
competitive
twist.
twist. And Manabu
Group C will be
clarifies that the
facing off
trader
against
will
Group
receive
K,
a
and
debt
the stakes are
equivalent
high.
to the
The
average
team that
debt of
loses
the
will be
losing
eliminated
team.
from the game.
As the game begins,
Group K members
Yuichi
are
and
quick to
Tenji
dismiss
realize
the
that their
idea of
chances
2
of winning
people
are
putting up a
slim.
good fight.
But then,
But
a
Tenji
new
believes
player
that the
joins their
game is
team.
all about
Maria
testing the
Mizuze
strength of friendship
Reiko
within
is
the
suspicious
group.
of Yuichi
Manabu
and decides
reveals
to send
the rules
Maria
of the
to
game,
keep
and
an eye
Yuichi
on it.
notices the
However,
option to switch
Yuichi
teams.
sees the addition of
Manabu
Maria
explains
as their
the consequences
consequences
of
of
switching.
victory.
If you
Reiko
win,
reveals
you
that
won't
there
go
is
to the 4th
another
game.
way to
But
win
if
the
you lose,
Tomodachi game,
you will pass your
through
debt to the
charisma.
losing
She
team.
boasts
With
about
just
her
2
team
people
having
left on the
genius
team,
with such
if
a
one of them
quality,
switches
but Tsukino
sides,
remains
the game is
doubtful.
over.
Yuichi
Yuichi
is
is curious about what happens if you
confidently
switch
declares to
and your
Yuichi
original
and Tenji
team
that
wins.
he will take
And
on the
Manabu
role
clarifies
of
that
the
the
hider,
trader will
emphasizing
receive
that
a
they won't
debt
stand a chance
equivalent
against
to
him,
the
as he
average
has no
debt
intention
of
of
the
giving
losing
up.
team.
However,
As the game
Tenji
begins,
counters this
Yuichi
statement
and
by
Tenji
insisting that
realize
he
that their
should be the
chances
one
of
to
winning are
hide,
slim.
since he knows
But then
Yuichi can't
a
sit
new
still,
player joins
and
their
they
team.
cannot rely on
Maria
Maria,
Mizuze,
who may be quick to
Reiko
surrender.
is suspicious
Despite
of
the
Yuichi
conflicting
and decides
opinions,
to send
both
Maria to
teams
keep
are
an
given
eye
a
on it.
generous 2
However,
hours to
Yuichi
find
sees
their
the
hiding
addition of
spots.
Maria as their
During this
only
time,
hope for
they can
victory.
strategize and
Reiko
brainstorm their
reveals that
next
there is
moves.
another way to
Once
win
the
the
clock starts
Tomodachi
ticking,
game,
they
through
will have to put
charisma.
their plans
She
into
boasts
action
about
and
her team
execute
having
them
a
flawlessly.
genius with such a quality, but Tsukino remains doubtful. Juzo Kadokura confidently declares to Yuichi and Tenji that he will take on the role of the hider, emphasizing that they won't stand a chance against him as he has no intention of giving up. However, Tenji counters
Yuichi
this
and
statement
Maria
by
are on a
insisting
mission
that
to
he should
find
be
a
the one
safe
to
hiding
hide
spot
since
for
he knows
Tenji.
Yuichi
They
can't sit
recall the
still,
strict
and they
rules
cannot
Manabu
rely on
explained to
Maria,
them,
who
may be
first
quick
and
to
foremost,
surrender.
no
Despite the
violence is allowed to
conflicting opinions,
locate the
both
hider.
teams are
In
given a
addition,
generous 2
moving the
hours
hider
to
or
find their
changing
hiding
hiding
spots.
spots during the
During
game
this
is
time,
strictly
they can
prohibited.
strategize and brainstorm
Any
their next
violation
moves.
of these rules
Once the
will
clock
result
starts
in an
ticking,
instant
they will
loss,
have to put
along
their
with a
plans
hefty
into action
doubling
and
of
execute
each
them
member's
flawlessly.
debt. But the group isn't without a few advantages. Manabu hands everyone a
待たせた
cell
な
phone with the freedom to
天智
contact
ありがとう
anyone
天
they
智
like, friend or
ユイチ
foe. Yuichi
よく俺を
mentions that
信じて
he
待
won't
ってて
call
くれた
Tenji
な
unless
当た
it's
り
an
前だろ
emergency,
一体
leaving
何が起こ
Tenji
ってるのよ
feeling slightly
Tenji,
isolated.
Yuichi,
And
and Maria
Maria
are
are
on a
haven't
mission to
eaten in
find
3
a
days,
safe hiding
leaving
spot for
Tenji feeling
Tenji.
a bit
They
dizzy.
recall the strict
Thankfully,
rules
Manabu
Manabu
explained to them.
mentioned food
First
in the
and
middle
foremost,
of the forest,
no
which they
violence
can
is
eat
allowed
once
to
the
locate
game
the
starts,
hider,
but only
in
if they can
addition,
bring it to
moving
the hider.
or
In
changing
addition to
hiding
food,
spots
Manabu
during
gives
the
the
game
hider
is
a way
strictly
out,
prohibited.
a give
Any
up button,
violation of
which
these
only
rules
the
will
hider
result
can
in an
press.
instant
If they're
loss,
feeling lonely
along
or
with a
bored
hefty
and don't want to
doubling
continue,
of each
they
member's
can
debt.
use it to end the game
But the
immediately,
group isn't
but
without
at the
a
cost
few
of their
advantages.
team's loss.
Manabu hands everyone
Yuichi's
a
plan
cell phone
involves
with the freedom
separating
to
from
contact
Maria and
anyone
leading
they
Tenji
like,
to a small
friend or
cave to
foe.
hide.
Yuichi
Tenji
mentions
begins
that he
to
won't
wonder
call
if they
Tenji
stand a
unless
chance
it's
at
an
winning,
emergency,
dependency, with the enemy team having feeling slightly isolated. Yuichi admits that they probably won't win if they play clean, days, but if they're willing to bend the rules a bit, they just might. It all depends on how much Tenji can handle, which they determined to avenge his father. Tenji promises not to give up. It to the Yuichi, the last hope for Tenji, leaves without revealing his plan, leaving Tenji to wonder what he has in store. After spending 2 days in the cave or bored any contact to continue, Tenji begins to wonder why his friend hasn't come back at the cost of their despite the enemy team not finding him yet. Plan involves separating from Maria and leading Tenji to his hunger grows. So do his doubts about Yuichi's loyalty. If they stand a chance at winning, Tenji tries to remain optimistic and decides to wait it out. Yuichi admits that they probably Tenji's mind starts racing with various possibilities. If they're willing to bend the rules a bit, Yuichi is punishing him for his past mistakes. It all depends on how much Tenji can so handle. Determined to avenge his father, Tenji promises not to give up. However, he eventually decides against it and tries to call his plan, but leaving Tenji to wonder what else has in store. After spending 2 days in the cave plans to abandon contact from Yuichi, and has been spending time with the enemy team's girl, hasn't come back yet. And relaxing. Despite the enemy team not finding him yet, Tenji can't help but think that something is wrong. Anyone. As his hunger blames Tenji for their team's loss about Yuichi's loyalty. The news hits Tenji tries to remain optimistic and decides to trust his friend and suddenly wait for him. Tenji's mind starts racing with various possibilities. Feel like he's in a dire situation. Is punishing him for his past mistakes. Yakutaro and Kei feel sorry for him, and Tenji begins to fear the worst. With the enemy team having a perfect strategy, however, he eventually decides against it and tries to call the third game. But to his surprise, interrupts someone else chatter and sparks their attention. He divulges that he's come up with a master plan to win the game. Spending time with the enemy team's girl, eating and relaxing, but rather a test according to the man on the other end of the line. Yuichi hasn't been searching for anyone, and he blames Tenji for their team's loss in the second game. Something Manabu had mentioned hard, but he still decides to trust his friend and will make it incredibly difficult to locate someone. Tenji can't help but feel like he's in a dire situation. The importance of bringing food to the hiders is emphasized by Juzo, and can't see a way out. The group to brainstorm ways to deliver the perfect strategy. Kei wonders if someone should stay at the food station, and right before the third game, Juzo interrupts the group's chatter and sparks their attention. He divulges that he's come up with a master plan to win the game. He emphasizes that this isn't a game of chance, while Kei and Banri find a hiding spot. The others lean in to listen intently. The group nods in agreement, except for Reiko, who can't help but express her admiration for Juzo's leadership Manabu had mentioned earlier. It dawns on them that it's and confirms that they're a team not just typical friends. Reiko adds that they're all members of a basketball team, which seems to only fuel their confidence. Reiko boldly states that her group, this K, will emerge as waiters to deliver the 3 short days. Kei wonders if someone should stay at the food station, approaches Reiko confirms that it's a viable strategy. She wants to know if there is any not exactly that the game will end today, and without missing a beat, Juzo assigns Yakutaro and Chisato to confidently states that all they need to do is follow the searcher when they bring spot for him. The group nods in agreement, except for Reiko, who can't help but express her admiration for Juzo's leadership or searches. They have the advantage. Tsukino chimes in and confirms that they're a team, 2 of the searchers can stay close to one of the enemy searchers, they're all members of a basketball team, which seems to only fuel their confidence. The athleticism of Group K also works in their favor, will emerge as the victors in just 3 short days. Nevertheless, on day 3 of the game, Tsukino approaches Reiko with a question to move. She wants to know if there is any certainty that the game will end due to hunger and Reiko confirms her suspicion. As Reiko gazes at Tenji's face, she confidently states that all they need to do is follow the searcher when Tenji, on the other hand, is at a massive disadvantage since he hasn't eaten anything nearly impossible before the game. Group K's despite the searches, they have the advantage. It's just a matter of time for Group C to lose. 2 of the searchers can stay close to one of the enemy searchers, making it almost impossible for the hider to escape. The athleticism of Group K also works in their favor, Reiko's eyes widen in surprise at the unexpected sight. Nevertheless, Tsukino just shakes her head in disbelief. Perhaps it's just the stress and hunger playing tricks on Tenji's mind. Eventually give up due to hunger and thirst. As Yuichi draws nearer, Reiko starts to question his motives. Why didn't he try to bring food or even call to cheer up Tenji earlier? What has he been doing all this time? At a massive disadvantage since he mind starts to race as she ponders the days before the game. Despite this, Reiko firmly believes shares her skepticism, wondering if Maria will continue to observe or take a more active role, as the scene sets that she's just sitting back, watching everything unfold. Tsukino's suspicions only deepen when she eyes widen in surprise at her unexpected sight. While Tsukino just shakes her head in disbelief, perhaps she initially just the stress and hunger. Meanwhile, tricks on Tenji's mind, Tsukino guesses, announcing that he wants to join Yuichi draws near. The others are taken aback by his sudden declaration, wondering what his true motives are. Tenji earlier. What an unexpected twist all this time. Reiko's suspicious mind starts to race as she ponders the true intentions of Yuichi's sudden appearance. Tsukino shares her skepticism, wondering if Maria will continue to observe or take a more active role. It seems odd that she's just sitting back, watching everything unfold. Tsukino's suspicions only finds it hard to believe that Maria had suggesting switching sides. She thinks he must be bluffing more of trying to trick them than she initially thought. Tsukino disagrees and thinks that Yuichi's proposal is actually quite plausible. She believes that he may be motivated by his own goals and desires, which could be achieved by switching sides. As the
What
discussion
an
continues,
unexpected twist.
Tsukino wonders if Reiko would be willing to accept Yuichi's switch if it means securing a victory. Reiko takes a moment to consider Tsukino's suggestion and then confirms that she would agree to the switch. After all, this could mean an easy win for their team. Tsukino then emphasizes the importance of their decision and finds it hard to believe that they accept Yuichi's suggesting switching sides. The game is sure to take a dramatic bluffing or trying to trick them. Cunning However, Tsukino disagrees and thinks that Yuichi's desire to switch sides actually quite plausible. She believes that he may be motivated by his own goals and desires, which could be achieved by switching sides. Switch, as the discussion continues, as the group debates their next move, Kei suggests consulting their switch, causing Yuichi to burst out laughing in disbelief. Reiko takes a moment to consider their supposed suggestion and then confirms that she would agree to the switch. After all, this could infuriated by Yuichi's disrespect. Tsukino attempts to throw a punch, but his friends hold him back. She believes that whether they accept Yuichi's switch or not, the game is sure to take a dramatic turn. But Tsukino is skeptical. When Kei returns with the captain's decision, shocks his team by announcing his desire to switch sides and makes Tenji pay for his betrayal. While to make matters worse, the switch can only happen in the middle of the forest. Remains confident in his strategy. There's no going back. His team to trust as the group debates their next move, Kei suggests consulting their captain, causing Yuichi to burst out laughing in disbelief. He mocks them and their supposed leader, questioning his control over them. Yuichi may have been thwarted this time, but he's still playing the long game. Yuichi's disrespect 2 days ago, attempts to throw a punch, but his friends hold him back. Maria inquires in the meantime, Reiko is relieved that the game hasn't ended due to an accident, but Tsukino is skeptical. When Kei returns with the captain's decision, the approach is split. The first 2 days, Reiko is surprised that their leader that they have no intention of fighting. While Tsukino cleverly he plans to lull the opposing team into a confident of security and asks his team to trust him. Yuichi then suggests making the girl switch sides and tries to get their hiding spot before revealing it to Maria, the observant although he is aware of the risk of failure, Yuichi believes that it's the only option they have left. May have been he further explains that they have to follow the other team when they deliver 2 days ago, and that the person who was chosen to hide started the smallest Maria inquires Yuichi about their strategy. It's evident that the game of hide and seek is far from being sure they are on the same page. As Maria listens intently, she wonders what Yuichi's passive approach deny his first 2 days, not one to give up easily. They have no intention of fighting. Tells her his plan cleverly, but not before asking her to swear absolute obedience to of security before making his move. Hesitant at first, Yuichi then shares his plan of switching that Yuichi tries to get the hiding spot before revealing it to Maria. Although he is aware of the risk of failure, nothing Yuichi believes that it's the only option they have left. He further explains that they have to follow the other team when they deliver surprises and that the person who is chosen to hide is not the smallest. He has changed his mind, but the largest. No longer wants to switch. It's evident that the game of hide and seek is far from being a typical one. To wonder if their Maria listens intently, she wonders what Yuichi's plan would be if they deny his switch. That he's confident in one Kei's ability and believes that they can win without any additional help, but not before asking her to swear Yuichi's initial plan, which involved him engaging in small talk with the opposing group, agrees to his terms, knowing that attempting to incite them at times, and that he must searching for a crucial clue. Once he had found it, he would seamlessly move on to the next step of his scheme. Maria realizes the dawn on the fourth day. Kei and Banri head out to deliver food to their captain. Meanwhile, Chisato takes charge of watching over Maria, he has changed his mind and stays behind with Yuichi. As they all curiosity getting the better of him, the group begins to wonder if their captain is about his basketball journey. However, praises their team denies this, claiming that he's confident in Group K's abilities and believes that they can win without recognition from help. Maria reminisces about Yuichi's train to make their captain which involved him engaging in small talk with the opposing substandard shots. For 2 whole days, intrigued, attempting to incite them at times, why he is participating in the Tomodachi game. Once he had found it, he would seamlessly move on to the next step of his scheme. As Chisato crack of dawn on the 4th day, Kei and Banri head out to deliver food to their captain, but is interrupted by Chisato takes charge of watching over Maria, while Hyakutaro stays behind goes to look after Maria. Curiosity getting the better of him, realizes that Maria questions Hyakutaro about his basketball journey and praises their team for their incredible skills and exceptional captain. Hyakutaro bolts back to the camp and is thrilled to receive such recognition from Yuichi. Chisato is concerned about Maria, how hard he trained to make their captain shine. Hyakutaro, after injuring Juzo of the potential substandard shots. Of being a pervert. Yuichi asks suddenly, Yuichi yells that he has found something and grabs a bag before inquires about the possible death of instructs Hyakutaro to follow Yuichi. Chisato returns to the location. Hyakutaro is about to spill the beans, but is interrupted by Chisato. As they run next to a cliff, Chisato theorizes that Yuichi's yell was a signal to split them up. However, he realizes Yuichi surprises everyone by revealing that he eventually discovers something else, and in a moment of confusion, slips and pushes Maria off the cliff. Meanwhile, will Maria survive the sudden betrayal and decides to investigate. Tenji is at his limit, stops him, feeling completely drained and dangers of being is ready to push the give up button. Suddenly, Yuichi yells that he remembers something and grabs a bag before darting away. To escape Chisato instructs Hyakutaro to follow Yuichi while he searches for Maria. The thought of that makes him pause. Yuichi and Maria end up together again, and as Tenji decides to keep trusting Yuichi, Chisato theorizes that Yuichi's yell was a signal to split them up. But it's better than giving Yuichi up surprises everyone by revealing that sorry that he found something else, to everyone, and in a moment of confusion, betray anyone else. Slips and pushes Maria off the cliff. He suddenly feels Maria survive this sudden betrayal. He opens his eyes. Meanwhile, he sees Tenji is at his limit, feeling completely drained and defeated. It's a small gesture. He is ready to push the give up button, eagerly accepts the drink, but then he remembers something important. Even if he takes this opportunity to explain himself to Tenji, he will still have to return to his brought him food earlier. They could have followed him and possibly avoided all of his pain and suffering. In the end, Tenji decides to keep trusting Yuichi and bet his life on him. Yuichi he knows it's a risky move, but it's better than giving up that he had to test him. Tenji is sorry that he couldn't apologize to everyone, but at least he didn't betray anyone else. Start trusting him again. As he lies there, he is both grateful and relieved to hear this. Something wet on his lips. He knows that he has made the right decision. His eyes, he sees Yuichi standing over him. Tenji can't help but wonder how he managed to lose gesture, but it means the world guesses that they are probably trash talking him right now, and begins to feel doesn't let it get to him. Yuichi takes this opportunity to explain himself to Tenji. Meanwhile, he tells him that if he had brought him food earlier, they could have followed him and possibly avoided all of this pain and suffering. Maria is shaken by the experience, but she tries to remain strong. She recalls that Yuichi said about this on the first day as a distraction, but she never expected things to escalate like this. If he would push the Yuichi confides in Tenji about how he cunningly used Maria to his advantage, fully aware that slowing down one member would inevitably affect the entire dynamic. He knows that he has made the right decision. He goes on to explain how he meticulously observed can't help but wonder how he managed to live within Group K. Yuichi guesses that they are probably trash talking him right now, but Tenji doesn't other times purposefully knows that he has bigger things to worry about right now. Yuichi's mission was to uncover Hyakutaro manages to save Maria from the fall. Through his calculated analysis, to help he discovered Maria is shaken by the experience, although initially perceived as short-tempered and impulsive. Yuichi said about compassionate nature and self-awareness, but she never expected things to escalate. On the other hand, Chisato, she confides in Tenji about how he cunningly used Maria to his advantage, fully aware that slowing down one member would inevitably affect Yuichi's plan was to exploit his weaknesses. He goes on to explain how he meticulously observed each personality in the last 3 days. He set numerous traps in motion, the first of which is about to provoke conversation, while other times a surprising turn of events unfolds as Maria unexpectedly was to uncover the kindest member of the group. Both him and through his calculated analysis, as Yuichi returns to the food camp, the 2 remaining members of initially perceived as short-tempered and impulsive, ultimately resulting in compassionate nature and self-awareness set him apart from the rest. Tenji is puzzled by Yuichi's strategy to dismantle the trades relationship. The moment Manabu confirms that the third member is a girl, Yuichi jumps at the opportunity to use her plan was to exploit these weaknesses. Meanwhile, Maria expresses her gratitude towards Chisato for the last 3 days, but he modestly traps in motion, the first of which is about to suddenly shift as she accuses Hyakutaro of being a pervert, confessing that he was caught peeping on her while she was stark naked, leaving despite his feeble attempts to defend himself. As Yuichi returns to the food camp, the 2 remaining members of Group K find themselves in a heated argument. Maria's demeanor changes as she admits to lying about the incident, revealing that she was only trying to test his honesty. Yuichi's strategy to dismantle the appreciation relationship. Maria thanks the moment Manabu confirms that the third member is a girl. Amidst all this, jumps at the opportunity can't help but wonder what would have happened if Hyakutaro wasn't there. Maria expresses her gratitude. In his eyes, Yuichi is nothing but a conniving, he modestly gives credit to Hyakutaro. But Maria is too afraid to speak up against him. As she accuses Hyakutaro, the trio decides to make their way back to the food station. That he was caught peeping on her while she was stark naked. Worse, despite his feeble attempts to defend himself, Hyakutaro ends up apologizing to Maria, jumps into action and offers to carry her on his back. Unexpectedly, Maria is pleasantly surprised by his chivalry lying about the incident, that she ended up in that she was only trying to test his honesty sooner. As a token of appreciation, Maria thanks Hyakutaro, already been seduced by Maria. Amidst all this, Chisato can't help but wonder what would have happened if Hyakutaro wasn't there to save Maria. In his eyes, Yuichi is nothing but a conniving and devious person, but Maria is too afraid to speak up against him. With heavy hearts, the trio decides to make their way back to the food station. However, things take a turn for the worse as Maria experiences back at the food station
in her leg.
Hyakutaro and Chisato quickly recount the
jumps
events
into
that
action
took place.
and offers to
Kei's
carry her
mind
on
starts
his back.
racing as
Maria
he realizes that if
Yuichi managed to get food,
and laments that
the
she
game
ended
could
up
be
in Group
prolonged
C,
even more.
wishing she had
Suddenly,
met him sooner.
Yuichi makes his
Will the
grand
honey
return
trap work?
and starts
As
ordering Maria
Hyakutaro
around like she's
already
some
been
sort of
seduced by
object he
Maria?
owns. Hyakutaro's blood
はい、
starts to
会話を
boil
聞か
as
れる
he
ような距
stands
離じゃ
up
な
for
い。
Maria.
私に味
But
方
to
天使さん
everyone's
の隠れ場
surprise,
所
Maria stops him, saying that's exactly what Yuichi wants.
とりあえ
The
ず今
tension
や
in
れるの
the
は
air is palpable
わかった
as Yuichi takes
教えるよ
things to the next level by
お前まさか
violently pulling Maria's hair. Kei knows that this is completely unacceptable and tries to reason with Manabu about how violent behavior shouldn't be tolerated.
The events
But
that
Manabu
took place.
confirms that
Kei's
violence
mind
against
starts
team
racing
members
as
is
he
okay.
realizes that if
Only
Yuichi
violence
managed
against
to get
opponents
food,
is
then the
forbidden.
game could be
The
prolonged
situation
even more.
quickly spirals out
Suddenly,
of control
Yuichi
as
makes his
Yuichi
grand
keeps
return
provoking them
and starts
stating
ordering
that he
Maria
can do
around
whatever
like
he
she's some
wants
sort
to
of
Maria,
object he
and it
owns.
won't break any rules.
Hyakutaro's blood starts to boil as he stands up for Maria,
but
to
Chisato
everyone's
senses something
surprise,
fishy
Maria
about the whole
stops him,
situation,
saying that's
and wonders
exactly
if they're
what
being
Yuichi
tricked.
wants.
He
The
uses
tension
his
in the air
vast
is
experience
palpable
with
as
women to
Yuichi
deduce
takes
that
things to the
Maria
next
may
level
be
by
acting,
violently
but this
pulling
only
Maria's
causes a
hair.
rift between him
Kei
and
knows that this is
Hyakutaro.
completely
Things
unacceptable
escalate
and
quickly
tries to
as they
reason
get
with
into a
Manabu
heated
about how
argument,
violent
almost
behavior
coming
shouldn't
to
be
blows.
tolerated.
However,
But Manabu
Kei knows that
confirms
they
that
need to stick
violence
together
against team
and
members
reminds
is
them that their
okay.
captain
Only
should have
violence
the final
against
say on the
opponents
matter.
is forbidden.
This only
The situation
causes
quickly
Yuichi to
spirals
taunt
out
them
of
even
control
more,
as
calling
Yuichi
them
keeps
pathetic for
provoking
not
them,
being able to
stating that he
decide
could
on
do
their
whatever
own
he wants
whether
to
or not
Maria,
to
and
protect
it
the
won't
girl.
break any rules.
Determined to set things
Hyakutaro
right,
suggests that
Hyakutaro
Maria
joins their
volunteers to
team,
talk to their
but
captain.
Chisato senses
Kei
something
agrees,
fishy about the whole
suggests they both
situation
go
and
directly
wonders
to the
if they're
captain
being
to
tricked.
avoid any further
He uses his
misunderstandings.
vast experience
Yuichi
with women
ponders
to
the
deduce that
possibility
Maria
that
may be
Juzo's
acting,
absence
but
has
this only
exacerbated
causes
the
the
tensions
tensions
between
between
Chisato and
Hyakutaro.
Hyakutaro.
Things
He muses that
escalate
Juzo,
quickly as they
if
get
present,
into a heated
would likely
argument,
allow Maria
almost
to join
coming
their
to
group.
blows.
But their
However,
carefully
Kei
crafted
knows
plan
that they need to stick
dictates
together
that she
and reminds
must
them that their
decline,
captain
citing
should have the
Yuichi's
final
supposed
say on the
grudge
matter.
against her.
This only
in
causes
turn, could
Yuichi
cause
to taunt them
Hyakutaro
even
even
more,
spiral out
calling
of
them
control
pathetic for
and
not
lash
being
out
able
at
to
Yuichi.
decide on their own
It is plausible
whether or
that
not
his
to protect
comrades
the
could
girl.
restrain him,
Determined
but even
to set
that
things
would
right,
only serve to
Hyakutaro
heighten the
volunteers to
already
talk to their
palpable
captain.
friction among
Kei
them.
agrees,
In the
but
end,
suggests they both
Yuichi
go
resolves
directly
to
to the
sway
captain
Hyakutaro
to
to their
avoid
side.
any further
Should he succeed,
misunderstandings.
victory
Yuichi
would be
ponders
all
the
but
possibility that Juzo's
Fortunately,
absence
Yuichi has
has
a few tricks
exacerbated
up
the
his
tensions
sleeve.
between
Chief
Chisato
among
and
them, the
Hyakutaro.
means to extract
He muses
their
that
captain's
Juzo,
whereabouts
if present,
from
would
Hyakutaro.
likely allow Maria to
Several
join their
hours
group,
later,
but
Kei
their
and
carefully
Hyakutaro
crafted
return
plan
to the room,
dictates that she
disappointed and
must
downtrodden,
decline.
citing
Hyakutaro
Yuichi's
breaks the
supposed
news to
grudge
Maria
against
that
her.
Juzo did not
This, in
allow for
turn,
her to
could
switch
cause
sides.
Hyakutaro to
Nonetheless,
spiral out
there
of
is
control
a glimmer
and
of
lash
hope
out
as
at
Juzo
Yuichi.
shared that there's
It is
still
plausible
one
that
more
his
way to
comrades
protect
could
the
restrain
girl,
him,
but
Chisato
even that would
catches
only
on to
serve
this
to
and
heighten
makes
the
an earnest
already
attempt to
palpable
persuade
friction
Hyakutaro.
among them against
In
what's
the end,
about to
Yuichi
happen.
resolves
Despite
to
her
sway
pleas,
Hyakutaro to their
Hyakutaro
side.
is resolute
Should he
and
succeed,
heads towards
victory
Manabu
would
to
be
express
all
his
but
wish to
assured.
switch sides.
Fortunately,
Yuichi has
in
a
an
few
instant,
tricks up his
Yuichi
sleeve.
gives his
Chief
approval,
among
and
them,
Manabu
the
announces
announces
that
that
Hyakutaro
Hyakutaro
is now an official member of
from
Group C.
Hyakutaro.
With
Several
unwavering
hours
determination,
later,
Kei and
Hyakutaro
Hyakutaro
states that
return
he
to the
will
room.
continue to play for
Disappointed
Group
and
K
downtrodden,
and take on the
Hyakutaro
double
breaks
debt
the news to
when they
Maria
win that Juzo did not allow for her to switch sides.
Hyakutaro
attempts to
there
punch
is a
Yuichi,
glimmer of hope,
but the seasoned
as Juzo
player
shared that
effortlessly
there's still
dodges
one
and
more
pins
way
him
to
to
protect
ground.
the girl.
Firmly,
Chisato
catches
catches
onto
onto
this
this
that
and makes
violence
an
has no
earnest
place in
attempt
to
either
persuade
group
Yakutaro
and ties him up.
against what's about
It is then
to
that
happen.
Yuichi instructs
Despite
Group
her
K
pleas,
to use this as an
Yakutaro
opportunity
is resolute
to have a
and
discussion
heads towards
with their
Manabu
captain.
to express his
Yuichi
wish to
excitedly
subside
dials
the group's
Tenji's
number.
number. His heart
In an
pounds
instant,
with anticipation.
Yuichi gives his approval,
as soon as
and
Tenji
Manabu
picks
announces
up,
that
he blurts out the news.
now an
They
official
finally
member
managed
of
to
Group
recruit
C.
a member
With
into their
unwavering
group.
determination,
Tenji lets out a whoop
Hyakutaro
of
states
joy,
that he will continue to play for Group K
and take on the double
there's still
debt
one
when
crucial
they win.
piece of
In
information
an
missing,
unanticipated
the
turn of
whereabouts
events,
of their
Hyakutaro
captain,
attempts
Juzo.
to punch Yuichi.
Yuichi knows that
but
their
the
new
seasoned
recruit
player
must know
effortlessly
something,
dodges
and he's
and
determined
pins him
to find out
ground.
what it is.
Firmly,
Meanwhile,
he reminds
Maria's heart
Hyakutaro
is
that
heavy,
violence
and she
has no
speaks to
place in
Hyakutaro.
either group.
She
and
knows
ties
that he
him up.
won't be able to
It is
protect
then
her
that
from
Yuichi
Yuichi's
instructs
wrath,
Group K
but she's
to use
grateful
this
for
as
his
an
opportunity
opportunity
to have a
Her
discussion
mind
with
races
their
with
captain
fear
as she
Yuichi
contemplates what
excitedly
Yuichi
dials
might do
Tenji's
to
number,
make
his heart
Hyakutaro
pounding with
spill their
anticipation.
captain's location.
As soon as Tenji picks
Hyakutaro
up, he
tries
blurts
to
out the
reassure
news.
Maria,
They
telling her
finally
that
managed
he's
to recruit
tough
a member
enough
into
to
their
withstand
group.
anything that
Tenji
Yuichi
lets
might
out
throw
a
at him.
whoop of joy,
But Maria knows better.
congratulating
She's
Yuichi
heard
on a
rumors
job
of the
well
cruel
done.
and ruthless
But
things that
there's still
Yuichi is
one
capable
crucial
of.
piece of
Her
information
voice
missing,
trembles
as
the
she warns
whereabouts of
Hyakutaro
their
of the
captain,
danger
that
Juzo.
they're in. Yuichi knows
Suddenly,
that the new recruit
Yuichi's
must know
ears
something,
prick up as
and
he
he's determined to
eavesdrops
find
on
out
their
what it is.
conversation.
Meanwhile,
His heart sinks
Maria's
as
heart
he
is
hears that
heavy, and
Hyakutaro
she speaks
might
to
not know
Hyakutaro.
anything
She
after
knows
all.
that he won't be
Elsewhere,
able to protect her
Juzo
from
confides
Yuichi's
in Kei
wrath,
about their
but she's
latest
grateful
recruit,
for his efforts
Hyakutaro.
nonetheless.
Kei
Her
nods
mind
in
races
agreement,
with fear
assuring
as she
Juzo
contemplates
that
what
everything is
Yuichi
going
might
according
do
to
to make
plan. But he
Hyakutaro
reminds
spill
Juzo
their
to be
captain's
polite
location
and respectful to their new member
Hyakutaro
when
tries
they
to
meet.
reassure Maria,
As the pieces
telling
of
her
their
that
plans
he's
start to
tough
fall into place,
enough to withstand
Reiko
anything
watches
that
on with a
Yuichi might throw at
satisfied
him.
smirk.
But Maria knows
She
better.
knows that Kei
She's heard
is the
rumors of
true
the
mastermind
cruel and
behind
ruthless things that
everything.
Yuichi is
A true
capable
genius
of.
who controls
Her
the
voice
trembles
trembles
from behind
as she
the
warns
scenes.
Hyakutaro of the danger
Yuichi
that
curiously
they're in.
asks Hyakutaro
Suddenly,
why he didn't see
Yuichi's
their
ears
captain.
prick up as
To
he
his surprise,
eavesdrops on their
Hyakutaro
conversation.
explains that they
His heart
received a
sinks
call
as he
on their
hears that
way,
Hyakutaro
urging them
might
to
not
rush
know
back to the
anything
food station.
after all. Group C
Elsewhere,
was up to
Juzo
something.
confides
They
in
had
Kei
no
about
choice
their
but to
latest
heed the
recruit.
call.
Kei,
Hyakutaro,
being the wise
Kei
leader
nods
that
in
he is,
agreement,
decided to
assuring
call their
Juzo that
captain
everything is
instead of
going
visiting
according
him.
to plan.
As Yuichi
But he
digests
reminds
this
Juzo to be
information,
polite
he realizes
and
the
respectful
true
to their
leader
new
of the
member
group.
when they meet.
With
As
newfound
the pieces
respect,
of their
he
plans
picks up
start
his
to fall
phone
into
and
place.
calls Kei.
Reiko
The
watches
puzzle
on with
pieces
a
are starting
satisfied
to fall
smirk.
into place.
She
and
knows
Kei
that Kei
confirms that
is the
Yuichi
true
is
mastermind
finally getting
behind
it.
everything.
But
A
Yuichi
true
has no
genius who
intention of
controls the
making
strings
another
from
mistake.
behind the scenes.
Kei assures him that
Yuichi
they secured their
curiously
win when they
asks
acquired the
Hyakutaro
time
why he
bomb
didn't see their
Hyakutaro.
captain.
Despite
To his
Yuichi not
surprise,
being as smart as
Hyakutaro
Kei,
explains
he
that
should
they
be able
received
to
a
figure
call
out
on
what
their
he
way,
means,
urging
Shocked,
them to rush back
Yuichi
to the
turns
food
to
station.
Maria,
Group
confessing
C
that
was
they
up
will
to something,
definitely
and they had no
lose.
choice but to heed the
Juzo,
call.
on the other hand,
Kei,
notices
being
that
the wise
Kei
leader
is
that he
looking
is,
happy.
decided to
Kei
call their
confirms
captain
that thanks
instead
to
of visiting
Yuichi,
him.
he was
As
on board
Yuichi
in the last
digests
few
this
days.
information
With a
he
plan in
realizes
mind,
the true
he explains
leader of
the
the
two
group.
main points
With
to Juzo.
newfound respect,
Hyakutaro
he picks up
switching
his
sides
phone
and
but
calls
having no
Kei.
intention to
The
betray
puzzle
them,
pieces are starting
and using
to fall
violence
into place,
against an
and Kei
opponent.
confirms that Yuichi
These
is
are the
finally
keys to their
getting it.
eventual victory.
But Yuichi has no
what about
intention
Kei's
of making
backstory?
another mistake.
Tsukino asks
Kei assures
Reiko
him that
who
they
reveals
secured
that
their
he's a
win when they
genius
acquired
who
the
gets
time
hold of
bomb
everything
Hyakutaro.
quickly.
Despite
believes
Yuichi
he
not
joined
being as
Tomodachi
smart
game
as Kei,
just to kill
he
some
should
time.
be able to figure out
As
what
for
he means.
Juzo's obedience,
Shocked,
Reiko
Yuichi
guesses
turns
that
to
Kei
Maria,
found his weak
confessing
point.
that they will
As Yuichi
definitely
begins to
lose.
panic, Maria's
Juzo,
mind
on the other
races as she
hand,
tries to
notices
figure
that
out
Kei
what is
is
happening.
looking happy.
After
Kei
a few
confirms
moments
that
of
thanks to
chaos,
Yuichi
he
was
on
on
board
board
in
the
the
last
last
few
rule
days.
dictates
With a plan in mind, he explains
attacks
the
someone
two
from
main
Group
points to
K,
Juzo.
they will lose
Hyakutaro switching
immediately.
sides
To avoid
having
this,
no intention
Yuichi
to
took
betray
matters
them
into his
and
own
using
hands
violence
and tied
against
up
an opponent.
Hyakutaro, hoping that
These
they
are
would
the
win
keys
right
to
away.
their eventual
However,
victory.
as time
But
passed,
what about Kei's
Hyakutaro
backstory?
became a
Tsukino
ticking
asks
time
Reiko,
bomb, making
who
it
reveals that
impossible
he is
for
a
them to
genius
move.
who gets bored
Despite
of
the
everything
urgency quickly. Of the situation. She believes he joined Tomodachi game just to kill some time, as he suggests. As for Juzo's obedience, to avoid detection. Guesses that Kei found his before they can put their plan into action, to panic, Chisato and Maria's mind races as she tries to figure out what is happening. Is already too late. After a few moments of chaos, Maria is feeling restless and bored. Dictates she wanders around. Kei approaches her and comments that he had been hoping to get her alone. Immediately, Maria is caught off guard when Kei took matters into his own hands from the management tied up Hyakutaru, hoping that they would win right away. Food rations based on the size of their group, and when Maria showed up, she didn't making it impossible for them to move. Kei deduces that she must be from the management. Kei then makes a bold proposition to Maria. He suggests he wants her to betray Yui detection. He argues that as a player, they can put their plan into action. Chisato and especially since Group K is sure to win, revealing that Maria is intrigued by Kei's offer, and the next morning Maria is feeling restless and bored. Character. As she wanders around, reveals that he approaches her and comments that he had been hoping to get her alone. Maria is caught off guard when Kei reveals that he knows she's from the management team. Maria can't help but get excited at the prospect of such an entertaining game. She agrees to team up with Kei, eager to see what kind of chaos they can create together. That she must Maria reaches out to management urgently, inquiring if there is any proposition to Maria. With he wants her to betray Yuichi confirms that although they are keeping a watchful eye on him, for her to not they are not nearby, especially since fearing for Tenji's well-being. Maria is intrigued by Kei's offer and wonders if betraying Yuichi would make her feel like a different she is alone at present. Kei reveals that observing Kei, Banri, and Chisato joining forces and logic, Yuichi sees and he could make the sadistic Yuichi crumble into a pathetic he could devise a plan to Maria can't help but get excited at the prospect of such an entertaining game. She agrees to team up with Kei, of betrayal to see what kind of chaos they can create together. Yuichi's anger is palpable as Yuichi falls to his knees, inquiring if there is anyone in the vicinity. Kei remains unperturbed, convinced that Yuichi has revealed the location of their watchful eye on him, with a nightfall looming. Kei suggests they begin searching immediately. Maria implores Yuichi to disclose his whereabouts. Hastily dials Tenji's number. To bring him immediately he warns him about Yuichi's atrocious plan to prioritize winning over Tenji's forces. Yuichi insists that Tenji should steer clear of it. He senses that as Yuichi is planning something terrible, he could devise a plan to seize Tenji to cut ties with Yuichi as soon as possible. Maria rushes off to meet with Kei. Tenji is hesitant and claims to be ignorant of Yuichi's plans. However, Yuichi's anger is unrelenting as he demands to his knees to repeat himself louder. Frustration. Tension begins to escalate as Tenji loses his temper and screams at Kei to back off. Tenji states that he has faith in Yuichi. Kei suggests they begin searching immediately. Satisfied with hearing Tenji's response, Kei hastily dials Tenji's number. Immediately, he warns him about Yuichi's atrocious plan to prioritize winning the area, announcing that the game has ended and everyone, including the hider, should return to the food station. Tenji is bewildered by their defeat, but Kei assures him that they had underestimated their opponents. Kei reminds Tenji to be ignorant of Yuichi's plan. Will prevail next time. Kei is unrelenting and demands Tenji to repeat himself louder. Tension begins to escalate as Tenji loses his temper and screams at Kei to back off. Tenji states that he has faith in Yuichi and is betting on him. Kei, satisfied with hearing Tenji's response, suddenly appears in the start of episode 11. His location. We cut to Juzo. Meanwhile, and Yuichi. Manabu's voice echoes throughout the area, announcing that the game has ended and everyone, including the hider, should return to the food station. Manabu announces the winner of the third game, but Kei assures him that they had underestimated their opponents. Kei reminds Tenji unexpected outcome. Kei manages to keep his composure. They found the enemy hider first. Manabu confirms their success, but emphasizes that there are multiple ways to win. Just then, Kei turns and sees Juzo apologizing to everyone for pushing the give up button. We then cut to a flashback of episode 11. Earlier, we cut to Juzo to terms with how things have turned out. Stands he is absolutely after punching him. He turns to Hyakutaru and asks if everyone has left. In the midst of the chaos, Manabu announces the winner of the third game. Suddenly, he stops being depressed and wants to continue, stating that the moment Hyakutaru switched teams, Kei manages to keep his composure and expresses his surprise, noting that they found the enemy hider first. Back down. Manabu confirms their success, but emphasizes that there are multiple ways to win. But just then, Kei turns and sees Juzo knows he has to take matters into his own hands and starts punching Hyakutaru. We then cut to Juzo thinks it's a bluff, but he's taken aback when he sees Hyakutaru with how things have turned out. He is surprised too. Shocked. He didn't expect Hyakutaru to be so and asks if everyone has left. Yuichi gives the phone to Hyakutaru. Yuichi can feel his heart rate increase. He confirms that he stops being depressed and wants to continue, stating that the moment Hyakutaru switched teams, Group C's win became certain. Yuichi knows that this isn't what he wanted, but he's not one to back down, and notes that he isn't a monster, but a devil. Begging him to press the give up button, asks Hyakutaru to hold on, reassuring him that Yuichi knows he has to take matters into his own hands, and starts punching Hyakutaru. He states that he will break something, but he's taken aback when he sees Hyakutaru not
basketball team and that Hyakutaro has practiced a lot to score his shots. He didn't expect Hyakutaro to be so tough. Eventually, Yuichi gives the phone to Hyakutaro, who's having difficulty speaking, and won't have the same confirms that Juzo is correct. He gives Juzo 10 seconds, but gags Hyakutaro's mouth to prevent him from biting his tongue. Starts thinking he's indeed After 10 seconds, he breaks his finger. Juzo hears it and notes that he isn't a monster, but a devil. Believes it's true and apologizes to Hyakutaro to hold on, reassuring him that Kei will soon find the hider. And Juzo calls him a scum, has other plans. But he states that he will break something, stating that the scum in Juzo, knowing that they're a basketball team and that Hyakutaro has practiced a lot to score shots, Yuichi intends to break Hyakutaro's finger. Yuichi opens up about the hidden after it heals, a secret they won't be the same and won't have the same precision initially suspecting Kei. He gives Juzo realizes that Juzo and gags Hyakutaro's mouth to prevent him from biting his tongue. Shots. After 10 seconds, that his family business was sinking in debt. Juzo hears it and, having heard the same sound when he got injured, believes it's true and apologizes to Hyakutaro. To play one final Tomodachi game with his friends, and Kei promised to help him pay off his debt under the condition that Juzo would obey him, stating that the scum in Juzo for his actions started it all. He blames himself for everything that has gone wrong. Tomodachi game, but his apologies do not suffice for Yuichi, who continues to be pummeled by Juzo's about the hidden debt. Hyakutaro intervenes, surprising Juzo with the realization that he hadn't actually realizes that Juzo is the one who had broken his own finger to ensure they won. He confesses to being a coward, but explains that they had their reasons for winning, and it had become so bad that he was about to quit school and start working. But the truth is soon revealed. To play one final Tomodachi game with his friends, just as Kei promised to help him pay off his debt under the condition, realizing that they would obey him. Lost. As he apologizes for his actions, he blames himself for everything that has gone wrong. Kei's plan was apologies do not suffice for Yuichi, who continues to be pummeled by Kei up and spanks him, making Kei question why his big brother surprising Juzo with the realization that he isn't his real brother, but since they grew up together, he had broken his own finger to ensure they won. He confesses to being a coward, but explains that they had their reasons for winning. To his defeat. Juzo is stunned that also made the right decision by pressing the button, but the truth is soon revealed. If he had let down Yuichi had promised to let he would have lost everyone just as hard. Juzo proclaims he will attempt to make them transfer all their debt to him and wishes the other four won't split up. However, can't accept questions, and it's Juzo who lost him the game. Kei's plan was from the management, yet the rest she appeared to be meek and uncertain. Banri then managed to follow his intricate and question why his big brother, which he was aware of her position, Banri clarifies that he isn't his without remorse, but since his reaction when she betrayed him was part of the plan to make them think they would give up, and as his strategy didn't factor in the scenario, requests Maria to inform her bosses that he will also make the right decision by pressing the button. Does not consider that if he had let down Hyakutaru, he would have lost everyone's respect. Have the most desirable ideas, he will attempt to destroy transfer all their debt to him, Tenji and wishes the other four won't split up. Person. Maria questions if Yuichi knew who she was. Juzo hadn't pushed the button, she is from the management. She appeared to be meek and his old self would have done so without follow his intricate instructions. Yuichi wonders if Tenji had known that part of her position, still think pushed her off the cliff without remorse. And Tenji's reaction when she betrayed him was part of the plan to make them think they would win and find Yuichi trying to clean the bad messages left, Maria calling them form her bosses their death. He will absolutely starts crying and reveals that Shio and Makoto consider that Yuichi is a cowardly explains that a week ago, although Yuichi temporarily is a decent person. However, they had to refrain from talking about the game hadn't pushed or running away. He might have broken Hyakutaro's finger, total debt as his old self would have done so without flinching, which astounds Yuichi wonders if Tenji had known that part of him would he still think he's a corrupt their friendship. Yuichi and Tenji were released for a while until the fourth game starts. They go to school and find Yutari trying to clean the bad messages left, calling them thieves, and that's why she ran away. Yutari starts crying and reveals that Shio and Makoto states there must be a reason. Shio explains that a week ago, Manabu had informed when they returned to school, and Makoto, the vice president Hanamiya, questioned Shio if it was her they could go home temporarily. However, normally they had to refrain from talking about the games, but their teacher
said that Shio had insisted on collecting the cash. 10.8 Makoto tried to protect her, which astounds Shio stopped him from revealing they shouldn't have stolen it as it was related to the game. Friendship. Hanamiya states they also believe that Makoto is an accomplice, but Yuichi and Tenji Makoto states that is ridiculous, as he is rich and 2 million are nothing for him, and that's why she ran away. Yutari guesses sure something bad must have happened after that. She states there must be a reason and states 2 days later Yutari's father was arrested as the police had found out about all that was revealed if it was her who had stolen the then comes to the realization that Makoto had talked to his father about the Tomodachi said that Shio had insisted on collecting them in cash. Makoto returned the next day, tried to protect her, he couldn't get the money, stopped him from everyone started to bully him, as it was related to the game. But she also states they also believe that Makoto is an accomplice. However, Makoto states that is ridiculous, as he is rich and 2 million are nothing for him, and the rest quickly learn that Makoto's father had been something bad must have happened before he has the chance. Shio's father interjects and warns that it comes to the realization that Makoto had talked to his father about the Tomodachi game. Yuichi immediately retorts that he doesn't have Makoto returned the next day, stating he couldn't get the money, and everyone started to bully him. Yuichi tried to stand up for him, but she also stopped coming to school. Inquires as other students come and ponder why that the group and the rest were to trust each other once again. Yuichi, however, is not done with Yuichi and the rest quickly learn that Makoto's father for not saying anything after the second game. The police then take out Makoto, who was covered in blood, prompting him to try and explain something to find out the truth. However, before he has the chance, Shio's father interjects and warns that it would be better for them to not get involved or else risk losing someone important. Understands, which is why she always retorts that he doesn't have anyone that he would be so willing to lose, response is sharp and cutting her to what to do next. Later, when Tenji inquires as to what was the right decision, it appears that the group explains that since trust each other once again, Yuichi, however, is not done with Yutari's debt on them, as he scolds her for not saying anything after the second game and looking at him as if he were a monster. He guesses that Yuichi is there as well and questions him to find out don't really work on him. He then sends them a picture of tied-up Yutari, stating the rules are simple and are only either show up or not. If they show up, Yutari will have a terrible which is why she always did what they wanted to avoid getting in their way. Yuichi's response is sharp and cutting as he declares that Yutari is now that if two people suffer the exact same pain, later the one with self-control won't scream, but the weak one will. Yuichi explains that since the lives are on the line, they should leave Yutari out of it and can take Yutari's debt on them. Then it's like the weak Manabu calls Tenji, telling Yuichi to come to a special Tomodachi game alone. He guesses that with someone else there as well never questions him if threats don't really work on him. States that if he then sends them a picture of tied up Yutari, stating undoubtedly simple, Yuichi they either show up to go as the involved Yutari show up, and that this game will be different than the rest. If not, consequently, he makes the difficult decision to go alone rather than risk Yutari's safety. Game. Ultimately, he is determined to save Yutari no matter what it takes. The one with self-control arrives at said location, whereupon he catches sight of a group of guys and a man go easy on him. If self-control is a disadvantage, then it's like the mask revealing himself as Kuroki to come to. He then explains that he will be the MC for the special edition of someone else. He will never see Despite Kuroki's attempts to re-explain the rules of weak-win game, Yuichi interrupts him and implores him to let go of Yutari. Unfortunately, Kuroki refuses and proceeds to cut Yutari's shirt open, thereby disclosing that he is aware of Yuichi's secret and rather than risk Yutari's safety. Nevertheless, ultimately, he is determined that Yuichi will be subjected to 3 rounds of physical pain at said location. Whereupon he catches sight of a group of guys and Yutari will be set free. However, at that moment, the man removes his mask, revealing himself as Kuroki. He then explains that he will be the MC for the special edition of Tomodachi game. It is up to Kuroki's attempts to explain the rules of and if he chooses to take it, interrupts him and implores him to let go of Yutari. Moreover, fortunately, Kuroki refuses and proceeds to cut Yutari's shirt open, silent, thereby disclosing that he is aware of Yuichi's secret and shocking Yuichi. Nevertheless, Kuroki continues, asserting that Yuichi will be subjected to 3 rounds of physical pain. However, if Yuichi is able to endure it, he and Yutari will be set free.
However, starts the first round, and as the countdown begins, Yutari has left with a difficult decision violence to choose herself and receive one hit, or choose Yuichi and have him receive 3 hits. To decide who However, takes the pain, Yuichi makes it clear what she should do. Her stamping his foot and urging her to not choose herself, while ultimately Yutari's decision is made for her. As Yuichi takes the 3 hits from Goriki, he notes to himself that the punches are weaker than Juzo. The is Hideki moves on to Yutari is once again presented with these Yuichi starts the first round, she hesitates, and as the countdown begins, it is Yuichi who steps up, placing his arm on the table and demanding Kureki to proceed or choose Yuichi and have him receive of frustration. Kureki follows through, Yuichi makes it clear what she should do, stamping his foot and urging her to not choose herself. Ultimately, the Yutari's decision is made for her, as Yuichi questions if there is anything good about him. He notes to himself that the punches are weaker than fighter than him. Juzo's Kureki appears to be a perverted sadist. Nevertheless, Kureki moves on to the next round, emphasizing that the strongest among them is once again presented make them the leader. He claims that he is the leader because he is the smartest. Initially, she hesitates, but eventually, and will never betray his friends. Steps up, placing his arm on the table and demanding Kureki to proceed make him the leader, and Kureki confirms. Frustration, Kureki wants them to continue with the game, but desires to mix it up a bit. If Yutari chooses herself, his fellow gang members totally why is the piece of shit Kureki their leader? He questions if there is anything good about him, since Kureki appears to be a much better fighter than him. Kureki appears to be a perverted sadist with a snake face. Yutari desperately tells Yuichi to choose, emphasizing that the strongest among them does not necessarily make them the leader. Realizes she needs to do it that he is the leader, but she can't decide and say it among them. So she will do whatever Yuichi and will never betray his friends. Yuichi firmly states Yuichi acknowledges that brains, laughs, and loyalty make him the leader, and Kureki confirms and is the weakest. Kureki wants them to continue with the game, but desires to mix it up a bit. If Yutari chooses gets excited as she will dance totally naked. Kureki declares this concludes the game, and they are free to go. No one would want to see Yuichi naked. He will gouge his hand 3 times. Take a moment to answer the question of the day. Gives them 1 minute to talk it out. Recent anime Yutari desperately tells Yuichi to choose, but he prompts her to tell him how she notes that he is really infuriated. Realizes she needs to do it this time. He clarifies his anger is towards Kureki and not so Yutari. She will do whatever he emphatically tells Yutari that Yuichi firmly states angry at her and that kidnappers frequently declare they will harm the hostage that she can't handle anything and is the weakest. They cunningly manipulate then proceeds to request stabs Yuichi's hand 3 times. But the scoundrels are the kidnappers screams and people like Yutari are merely casualties. Declares this concludes the game and they are free to go. Yuichi apologizes they will want to leave it's together. Because of him that she was targeted. Take a moment to answer the question of the day, expressing that she doesn't know what he was in the past, but he has been really kind to her, so she will believe him. Yuichi notes that he is really infuriated this time. Yuichi tells Yutari she clarifies his anger is towards Kureki and not Yutari. He notes emphatically tells Yutari that Yutari still decides to stay and that kidnappers subsequently declare they will harm the hostage if he wants to play a game with them. Kureki wonders what he will get, and Yuichi states the request 10 million yen. Doing something everyone gets excited. But the scoundrels are the kidnappers, and people like Yutari are merely casualties. Yuichi is surprised, feel remorseful. Stating that Kureki stated he knew about his past, admitting it's because of him that she was targeted. He knows much more than that. Cries and embraces Yuichi, and wonders about that she doesn't know what he was in the past, but he has been really kind to her, and if he wins, she will believe he gets 10 million yen. After Yutari bandages Yuichi's hand, Yuichi tells Yutari she can go. But furthermore, if he uses paper and loses, he will cut all 5 fingers. Yet Yutari still decides to use scissors and loses. Subsequently, Yuichi then asks Kureki if he wants to play a game with him. Kureki wonders what he will get, and Yuichi states it's 10 million yen. Yuichi calls the game, everyone gets excited, and Kureki points out that since his hand is in bandages, he can only use rock and paper with it, stating that Kureki stated he knew about his past. Yuichi then starts counting, he knows he has much more than that, stating he didn't agree. Kureki confirms, Yuichi then mocks him the game. Scared, Yuichi states they will play rock, paper, scissors. He announces that if Kureki wins, he will give everyone who is there 1 million yen. Yuichi then wonders if someone with brains and guts uses paper in a such game, he will cut and that they must support their leader. Additionally, consequently, if he uses scissors, everyone starts cheering him up. Will cut off too. Agrees. And if he uses rock to himself, that there is no way he can lose. While rock is the most no-risk throw to calls the game, he needs to use paper fingers. Even if Yuichi points out that since his hand is in bandages, he can only use rock and paper with it, which would give Kuriki an advantage. What will happen Yuichi then starts counting, but Kuriki stops him, stating he didn't agree. In the case they do, then mocks him if he is scared, even with such advantages. Kuriki then starts to suspect that if Kuriki wins, he will give everyone who was there 1 million yen. And Yuichi then wonders if someone with brains and guts would turn to such scissors, as there is a chance of either winning or losing. Consequently, as everyone starts cheering him up, Kuriki intends to throw, which Kuriki notes to himself that there is no way he can lose, while Rock nonchalantly remarks that it will demonstrate how pitiable Kuriki is. Even if Yuichi questions whether he is trying to taunt him, chance but he decides that won't make him alter his move, it will be as Yuichi only has one choice, what will happen if they do tie. Nevertheless, Yuichi believes states he won't be using paper. In the case they do, he starts to count down the game with Kuriki attempts to stay composed. Kuriki then starts to suspect that if he doesn't throw paper, he can only throw rock, since he is determined to throw paper. He then throws paper, but Yuichi surprises him by using his left hand to throw scissors. There is a chance of that infuriates Kuriki, as they didn't agree to that. Yuichi points out that he didn't throw paper, which surprises him, and that he can only use paper and rock with his right hand. He never said it will demonstrate how pitiable Kuriki is enraged and orders his men to teach Yuichi a lesson. But he decides his men ponder about the game, but Kuriki declares it doesn't count and to simply beat Yuichi. In that moment, Tsukino and other Tomodachi game management swiftly enters the countdown and starts restraining attempts to stay composed. Kuriki instinctively attempts to attack Tsukino, but with impressive agility, she knocks him out with a single kick. Yuichi observes that Tenji's timing was impeccable. Yuichi surprises him by using his left earlier, but they didn't let him go in. That infuriates Kuriki, as they didn't agree to that. Yuichi points out that he didn't throw paper, as he said, and that he can only use paper and rock with his right hand, and called the he never said he could use his left arm. Kuriki had acted as Manabu, enraged, and orders his men to teach Yuichi a lesson. His men ponder about the game, informs Kuriki declares it doesn't count and to simply beat Yuichi. The consequences in that moment, Tsukino and other Tomodachi game management swiftly enters and starts restraining everyone. Kuriki instinctively attempts to attack Tsukino, hand, but with impressive agility, she knocks him out with a single kick. With which finger he observes that Tenji's Kuriki implores his men to stop him. Tenji states they arrived a bit excited, but they didn't let him go in. To stop. Tsukino turns to Kuriki, wondering if he is the leader who is impersonating one of his friends to take Kuriki's place. Tenji elucidates that he followed Yuichi's intuition and called the real Tomodachi relieved, and inquires his men if someone would replace him, as he thought he had acted more crudely instead of 5 like him. Tsukino informs Kuriki that he will be going with them, enraged that they are not following his orders, and declares that his fingers are worth more than one of their fingers. Him he lost the game and thus owes Kuriki, and informs him the game is over. Steps on Kuriki's hand and encourages Yuichi to hurry up. Kuriki, still fuming with anger, is taken into a car with Tsukino. Implores his men to stop him. The same question to him. Gets excited. Rock paper Kuriki requests him to stop, and Yuichi responds he can do that. Quickly deduces that it is one of his friends which can't lose or scissors. Furthermore, he will only cut one of their fingers. Affirms his answer. Kuriki is relieved and inquires his men if someone would replace him. She then inquires as to how Yuichi could make sure that Kuriki would not lose or tie. As no one responds, immediately Kuriki becomes enraged that they are not following his orders and declares that his fingers are worth more than one of their fingers. Nods in agreement. Tsukino quickly stops Kuriki and informs him the game is over, that he has gotten out unscathed and has not lost anything. Kuriki, however, fuming with anger, points out that the game has nonetheless cost Kuriki dearly. She poses the same question to him. 3 facts about paper fingers: he has no brains, no guts, and that he is willing to betray his friends. That it is paper, words which possess a certain weight, scissors, as Kuriki's men still has already made it clear that he is no longer important to them, and reveals that they can do whatever Yuichi's plan from the start. In the end, she then inquires as to how Yuichi could make sure that Kuriki had managed to completely sever Kuriki's ties with his men. Kuriki realizes suddenly that the answer is to make him filled with a sense of urgency, as Tsukino nods in agreement, and Kuriki comes over and, upon inspecting Yuichi's hand, that he has gotten out unscathed and has not
not lost anything
after losing
However,
that much blood.
Tsukino points out
She
that
orders
the game has
emergency
nonetheless
transport
cost
to help
Kudoki
Yuichi
dearly,
to which
as
Tenji
it has
reluctantly
reluctantly
agrees.
facts about him,
As long as
that
they are
he has
taking
no
care of him.
brains,
Tenji
no
is
guts,
content.
and that he is
Maria
willing to
then
betray his
interjects and
friends.
suggests that
her words
instead of
possess a
staying
certain
by
weight,
Yuichi's
as
side,
Kudoki's men have
perhaps
already
Tenji
made it
and
clear that
Yuta
he
should
is
be
no
with
longer
another
a friend
friend
of
of theirs
theirs,
who
and
may
that they
need
can
them
do
more
whatever
at
they
the
want
moment.
with them. Maria reveals that this friend is Makoto,
rock, paper,
the
scissors,
murderer, and that if she had managed to completely sever Kudoki's ties with this man from his 500 million
Tenji
debt,
and Yutari are filled
Maria
with a
explains that
sense of
Makoto was
urgency
left with such
as
a
they try
large
to wake
debt
up
when his
Yuichi.
father died,
Reiko
and
comes
wonders
over
what
and,
Tenji and
upon
Yutari will
inspecting
choose.
Yuichi's hand
Money is
or friend.
outstanded that he has managed to
Unexpectedly,
stay
Yuichi
conscious
awakens
after
and tells
losing that much
Tenji that he
blood.
must go.
She orders
as
emergency
transport
to help
discover
Yuichi,
the
to which
truth.
Tenji
He
reluctantly
emphasizes
agrees.
that the most
As long
important
as they
thing
are
to
taken
him
care of
isn't money,
Tenji is
but
friendship.
friendship.
And
Maria
he
then
loses
interjects and
consciousness
suggests
again.
that
instead of
Tenji
staying
is
determined to
Yuichi's
go,
side,
and Yutari
perhaps
follows
Tenji
suit.
and Yutari
She
should
trusts
be with
Yuichi,
another
and
friend
if
of
he trusts
theirs who may
Tenji,
need them
then
more at
she
the
will go
moment.
as well. Maria
Thus,
reveals that
Tenji
this
and
friend
Yutari
is
march
Makoto,
into a
the
courtroom with
murderer,
Judge
and that if they
Manabu,
participate
who
in the
announces
next
the fourth
game,
game,
they may be able to
friendship
save
give
him
him
from his
court.
500 million
What will this
debt.
new game hold
Maria
in
explains
store
that
for our
Makoto was left
characters?
with such
I
a
guess
large
we'll have
debt
to wait for
when
the
his
second
father
season
died,
to come
and
out.
wonders what
In the
Tenji
meantime,
and Yutari will
stay
choose.
tuned for our
Money
Tomodachi
or
game
friend.
review, or go check out our other
Yuichi
anime
awakens
recaps.
and tells Tenji that he must go, as they can't leave the game before discovering the truth. He emphasizes that the most important thing to him isn't money, but friendship, and he then loses consciousness again. Tenji is determined to go, and Yutari follows suit. She trusts Yuichi, and if he trusts Tenji, then she will go as well. Thus, Tenji and Yutari march into a courtroom with Judge Manabu, who announces the fourth game, Friendship Guilt Court. What will this new game hold in store for our characters? I guess we'll have to wait for the second season to come out. In the meantime, stay tuned for our Tomodachi game review, or go check out our other anime recaps.